All right, stream is allegedly started.
Waiting for a pop-up. Come on, pop-up.
Come on, pop-up.
Come on.
All right, got my notes, got my phone, got my beer.
Looks like I'm going to have to manually log into YouTube.
All right, this is not going to work.
Lame sauce.
Because it's like in the middle, so like you can't see it.
I'm going to be using it for referencing purposes anyway, so it doesn't really matter where it's at.
Yeah. I need people to see my...
My Corona.
Where'd you put the... Oh, never mind. The limes.
Someplace where I hopefully won't kick them.
Yep. No pop-up yet? No chat?
It's working.
Oh, right. New machine. If this messes up our chat interaction, then we may have to
Yeah, well, it'll be fine.
re-engage.
It'll be fine once it gets in there. Checking one last time. Want to stop auto playing videos? Just McAfee, go away. God, the worst.
Oh my God! So I really fucked with my commander and DO on Monday. So Monday was the last day before we started the remote working and all that.
Mm-hmm.
They're in his office, like having a little discussion, and right outside of their office is the CSS, and that's also where they keep like the office supplies and everything. I needed a new notebook.
Right.
So I walk in there and I'm like, oh, okay, let's get ready. As soon as I walk in, I'm like, you know, and I'm just like coughing a lot and like, ugh. And, you know, I'm really, really, really playing it off. And I could see out of the corner of my eye, they both just kind of look their heads down. Like, you all right? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just fucking with you. Because that's my humor.
Except I'm not all right.
Oh, that is true.
This phone is not going to work here.
Ooh, what? Oh.
I'm like looking at the camera. I'm like, I can't see the camera. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So where's our chat?
It's coming.
So, you guys could be talking, but we don't see. All right. There we go. Hello. We got Tom. We got Tevin. And we got me locked up. All right.
You coughing. Fake coughing.
Yes. It was fun.
Oh yeah, everything's closed, dude. Everything. It is in New Jersey. It's the stay-at-home executive order was done.
Yeah.
But
which really, it's the only people they can enforce are businesses. Like they can't force people to stay at home.
No, and it's honestly, we have get out of jail free cards.
Yeah,
but there's a look. The idea is for people to stay in their homes and just not interact.
Right, and I get that. Trust me, but I mean, I don't know if the whole disinformation is part of your rant about people on Facebook. Okay, well, save it then. You know, because clearly the militia is coming to force everybody to stay home.
Obviously.
Yeah. Luna Girl, what's going on?
What up? All right. Yeah, unfortunately, this little laptop does not have the same amount of computing power that my other laptop has.
Yeah. I mean, we got the chat up. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still there. As long as we can see the chat, we're good.
Yeah, and
again, I can see my notes. So
as we're prepping and everything, if we sound quiet at any point during this, please let us know. Especially me, because I'm the one who always has the audio issues for whatever,
for some strange ass reason.
Yep. We have a new theory that it's our microphones. Like 2 of them.
He has a new theory about that.
Yeah, that they shit the bed, and Dave's just happens to be the good one of the batch.
Right.
I was way off. I'm gonna have to crack number 2 before we actually get started.
That's the idea. We should have been on our 3rd or 4th. We've got 12 to drink in only a matter of hours.
We don't have to go through all 12.
Bronco needs Instagram ideas. Oh, for toy pics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good conversation to have at some point.
Well, I think you need to like look if you look at your screen right there. Oh shit, right there. Recreate Papa Palpatine on his his harness.
What is it? The ominous.
Yeah, they had a name for it in the book. It was like old Sith technology.
Onessus or something. Something like that.
Yeah, but we'll get there.
Oh, now I need to know. I need to know right now.
Well, it's chapter 2. I can tell you that much. Not chapter 1, which was like one of my first bullet points about the differences between the two.
Yeah,
we're almost done with number 1.
You might as well get the next 2 out.
Where's the bag?
God damn it!
This is riveting stuff. I know. We're not actually live for the show yet, obviously.
Amin. Ommin. It was an Amin harness. Amin.
You good now? Was that worth it? Was that worth all the trouble?
I gave you time to get 2 more beers out.
That is true. While the people on YouTube are looking at us like, what the fuck are they doing?
They know. Look, the people that are in there right now pretty much know. This is how it goes.
Oh, is there anybody in there? Because I only see 2 likes on the video. So.
Oh yeah.
So we must only have 2 people in chat right now.
I tried clicking it myself, and it's not even. It's not gonna work for you. Yes, I would agree, Bronco, that the book went very quickly.
It did. Well, again, we don't want to blow our wad here, so why didn't the lime drop? Drop!
Because you suck at it.
Apparently. Where's that knife?
Right there.
Get down. Get down. Go. Go.
What is this, amateur hour?
Honestly, I probably drank more Coronas in the last week than I have in the last 15 years. So, if that tells you anything.
Oh, see, now we're up to 3.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All
right.
Now we're up to 6.
Big Lovin' was getting very defensive. All right, see, here we go. Now the likes are flowing.
Yeah, see, that's what we need here.
Mm-hmm. Help us help you.
Really, it's just help us. It has nothing to do with them.
We're providing them free entertainment, so
some are paying for this entertainment.
That is true. Yeah,
we have to appease the customers.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. With the customers gone, introduce them to the pod. You know what? It's like it's one eye. This eye, okay. That one,
Your glasses.
Yeah, these new fucking glasses. God damn it.
All right, I should probably piss before we start.
All right, you got your notes.
Yep, and then once I'm done, I'll be ready. So let me do that, and then we'll start.
Listen, fair warning for those in the chat. We have not watched the Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to...
No spoilers!
Yeah, no spoilers for Clone Wars. We're not going to be talking about it. I know... I wanted to talk about it a couple episodes ago, and then I kind of shot our wad for that one, for the next one. I'm like, no. I'm going to wait to watch the next 2 that we're going to talk about for the podcast. So, yes. And who's Dreadlord TV? Hi, by the way, Dreadlord TV. Who is't thou? And yes, I did see the play just mentioned. I love all of the play just mentioning. We just need to make the play just novel canon.
Woo!
Oh, by the way, I quasi met your neighbors.
These people in the corner here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've never spoken a single word to them. So
Really? Yeah, they waved at me. I said hi to their dog. Yeah, it was a thing.
What kind of dog was it?
It's a little tiny Shih Tzu thing.
Oh, okay.
Little barky. How you doing? But I was just I've never seen their vehicle, seen their house, never actually saw human beings.
Yeah.
And then wave at. I guess they see my car at least once a week, so they figured I'm here for this.
Right. So when we first moved in, it was a young couple, and their baby that lived there, and then they moved out, and I think it's been renters ever since. So I think it's been a couple of people in and out since then. So yeah, I don't even know who the fuck is over there, but either way, yeah, haven't spoken to anybody over there that's there now.
Yeah, seemed pleasant enough for people that drive a red Cadillac. What the fuck is that?
Huh? Okay.
That's their cat. That's their red caddy. That's there.
I've never seen.
Oh my fucking god!
No. I run by that. That might not be them. That might be.
No, that's totally them. I see that car every time I'm over here. The red Cadillac CTS that's right behind my car right now.
I'll have to look.
I could tell you the license plate.
That's perfectly fine. Anyway, we almost ready to start here?
Yeah, your toast.
My toast.
Chat's up. I got notes. I'm fine. Just a little Corona down the wrong pipe, that's all.
If you start showing signs, Kristen's not going to let me back in the house.
That's fine. You got everything you need right out here. Look.
Everything but a bathroom.
Oh, you got the side of the fucking house.
What if I have to shit? I'm not going to shit outside.
Talk to the neighbors. Hey.
I know we've never spoken, but can I come in and use your shitter?
Yeah. Can I come in here and destroy this thing? Because I drank a dozen Coronas a minute ago. Dreadlord TV. Do you know who that is?
I believe he's popped in before.
Damn it.
Yeah. Anyway, we're ready to start?
The occupants of Mustafar were referred to as colonists.
Yes, that's in my notes. I have 3 pages of full notes.
I got a whole book.
All right, we good?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Do it. Make the sacrifice. All right. 30 seconds of silence starting now. To JCR Licklider.
JCR Licklider. I thought that was some sort of anagram to your name.
No, so this JCR Licklider was a guy over at MIT in 1962.
Okay.
Wrote a bunch of memos about his vision for what he called a galactic network, which was essentially computers miles and miles, hundreds if not thousands of miles apart, speaking to each other over long cables. He did not see his vision come to fruition, but his subordinates, who eventually took over when he left MIT, followed his vision and eventually created what we now know is the internet. So just wanted to give a shout out to him because this week, especially with everything going on in the world, it's a good thing we have the internet so we can either buy our fucking groceries online have them delivered, or
Yep.
we can work from home via the internet. So really, this is a toast to the internet, but specifically to this guy, JCR Licklider, and his vision for the galactic network.
I love it.
Yeah,
It's very appropriate.
it is.
And I still think there's some weird anagram there with your name.
Well, yeah, because my initials are JCR, so I
know.
immediately honed
Yeah.
in on that. I'm like,
That's what I saw, because I saw it in the notes, and I'm like,
I like this guy. So
also, when you ask him, I'm just a new subscriber. Sweet. Dreadlord TV.
excellent. Well, in the meantime, hello everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
With all the craziness in the world, you're good?
Listen, for whatever reason, I think my brain thrives on chaos, so all this chaos has kind of leveled me out a little bit. So
I like it.
yeah,
Oh, that is too funny. So, as we started off last week, again, I'm messing with the formula. I know this is going to throw you and Kristen off, and I apologize.
is this in the notes?
It is. 5-star reviews. Please, please, please.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
we mentioned it last week. Have not gotten a new 5-star review since. Please go on iTunes. We know there's more than 53 of you out there that listen to the podcast. I have the numbers. I know that more of you listen to this show. So please go on to iTunes. If you don't have an iPhone, just download the iTunes app on your computer. Give us a 5-star review. Then you can delete the app or do whatever the fuck. Just give us that review. And we promise, if you give us a 5-star review, whatever you write in that review, we will read verbatim here on the show. So please do it. Make the sacrifice.
Listen. This is where Google Play we know doesn't have any review system.
Yeah, which is horseshit.
So, whatever.
Fuck you, Google.
Uh,
As we're broadcasting live on
whoa,
YouTube.
whoa! Hey! Take it easy.
The thoughts and opinions of Dave Martin.
Whoa! That's obviously not. We just do the voice. Google knows my voice, so
Yeah.
it's going to know that
I'm
you
sure
said
they know.
those words.
Right.
Google hears all.
Oh, they do. We've already been demonetized, like we were ever monetized.
Oh yeah,
so.
no, I don't think that was ever going to be a thing.
Yeah.
But no, however you might be ingesting us, yeah, if you can get into iTunes some kind of way and get us a review, cool. Or let us know how you're giving us a review.
Yeah.
Drop us a line and be like, hey, I gave you guys a review on
Stitcher.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's still a thing, but it used to be.
So we really, really, really have to we have to take this time that the COVID-19 virus is giving us
Yeah.
and actually go into the fucking libraries and go into the archives and fucking find out where our shit is being held up by not going to other podcast outlets. Because we're obviously on podbelly.com.
Yes, we are.
And we are the first
Show,
podcast, the best one in the galaxy, the first one on podbelly.com. So if you go to podbelly.com, you highlight the All Things Star Wars podcast, and you can stream us right from the website, or you can link to our RSS feed. Do we have an iTunes link and everything else? You think I would know that?
I'm pretty sure I have the RSS feed in our all of our notes and shit that I copy and paste into every episode.
I mean, let's face it. Anyway, everything has a search option, right? So if you put in All Things Star Wars podcast,
guess who's gonna come up?
that's us.
Yeah.
Because we worked diligently to select our naming convention based on what was available, how many podcasts were already out there with the same name, because we had other ideas.
Yeah.
And
they were all taken.
yeah,
It's like, those fuckers.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So, yes, go in there, go to podbelly.com, support us, support all the other podcasts that you see there. If you go and you enjoy one of the other podcasts like the Sofa Kings or the Ectoplasm or those guys, let them know that the All Things Star Wars podcast sent you.
Yes.
Which we should really probably try and do some cross-pollination with those other podcasts.
Yes, you are.
We should
wrong.
we should be doing that. I mean, we have your appearances on the Sofa King.
Yeah.
I
did my part.
We have our friends at the Used and Abused podcast. They're also on the Podbelly website.
As is the Escape Pod.
The Escape Pod, yes. And they also do their broadcast live And we have layman's terms. There's new layman's terms out.
Yep.
So you can find layman's terms on
YouTube.
on the YouTube.
Yep.
So we have a whole All Things Star Wars family, which is just so much fun. And as if you're watching us on YouTube right now and you see, like, I don't know, where is it over there? The Starkiller Studios. How you doing?
Right there.
There? Oh, yeah. See? Starkiller Studios. Right there. So anyway, support us any which way you can. Go to Patreon. You can support us on Patreon. You didn't list the...
There hasn't been a break in the conversation for me to do so.
Well, I'm talking so you can get ready to do other things. That's why we're professionals, Jason.
Ooh, man, yeah. Okay, so, to our patrons on Patreon: Tony Ferrari, Camille Donovan, Nick Jackson, Frederick Martin, Big Lovin', Scott Rasmussen, Tactical Swede, Don Solsky, Shotgun Mark, and Avery Morgan. Thank you very much for all of your support. You are the reason why we do this.
You are the reason we have snaps.
Yes. Some people more than others.
See, this is what happens when you fuck with the format, Jason. Like I'm trying to help you. Trying to bring you back into what we're supposed to be doing.
Yes. Okay.
And I can't miss an opportunity when I have a great fucking segue. You got to keep going.
It was a good segue.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Except
Anyway.
when you like make it look like I'm an asshole for not saying the names, and then it's like, well, come on, man.
That's what I do, Jason.
I know, it's your thing.
This is episode 143.
Yeah.
Like,
Which, by the way,
figure some shit out.
I know we haven't really talked about episode 150 in a couple of weeks, but we got that coming up in less than 2 months now. We might all still be on quarantine by then. So yeah, is it call-ins again? Is that what we're talking about doing?
I think so.
right.
I think call-ins would be appropriate, especially since we don't know what's going to happen with the coronavirus, and hopefully we'll have flattened the curve by then, and people actually stop being complete fucking assholes. Excuse me. Oh, that was a very Barney burp.
That was.
Tastes like lime.
That was good. I need to actually like save that when I'm like editing the audio. I need to save that part. Like anytime we need a burp sound, that was like the perfect
that was the
right
one. It's fucking. I'm just gonna go right into it.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna go right into it.
That was a perfect segue.
This is going to be the part of the podcast that's going to be abbreviated. If you really want to hear us like kind of talk about coronavirus and all the other stuff, listen to our last episode. But I spent a lot of time on the phone talking to people that have had this fucking just this idea that there's going to be fucking deuce and a halves in the street filled with National Guardsmen and M16s that are going to fucking, be shooting at people that aren't in their fucking homes. Like they've gone completely, they took this internet hoax, right? This email that had gone out, allegedly. I love all the people that fucking suddenly take ownership of something that's obviously been floating around 50, 60 times.
Right.
It's like, it'd be like taking a meme and then fucking being like, oh yeah, I made that. Like, no, you didn't. That shit's been around for fucking 4 months, and you're just posting it now as an original thought. No, it's not. This person was spreading this bullshit, pretending like it was, this person who was a first responder had said this, and this is what's going to happen, and I'm like, it's complete nonsense.
And we're talking like martial law, essentially.
It's the martial law email. It's the National Guard first responder email, which tell me, Jason, what AFSC is first responder?
I have no fucking clue.
There is none. There's no first. It's like you have security forces, you have medical, all that sort. There's no AFSC. There's no MOS. That's called first responder.
Okay.
Fact is, the National Guardsmen, a lot of them that are probably volunteering and are going to be called up are also first responders because they're paramedics and fucking doctors and all that other shit. Yeah. So the idea that some fucking schmuck got an email that says, oh, there's going to be this fucking lockdown, and then that suddenly would get broadcast out. I mean, we've seen leadership do some silly things, right?
Right.
None of them are going to put out some fucking doctrine with the potential of having that leak out. Nobody wants to keep their fucking job anyway.
Right.
And the fact that this thing would take off so easily, just people are lemmings. Mm-hmm. They want to have something to fucking rage against because they can't. Talking to an individual on the phone, it was like, well, I'm an American. I'm not used to being told that I can't do something. Like, okay, well, you can go ahead and do whatever you want. However, you may not be symptomatic with this particular virus, and you can communicate it to somebody else, and you'll be perfectly fine. Now that person takes and gets sick and gives it to their fucking grandmother because they're trying to stay in everything inside their family, and then they fucking kill somebody.
Right.
The numbers are exponentially going higher as we do more and more testing. That's why the social distancing needs to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even us doing the podcast, while legal, is probably, somewhat irresponsible.
It's frowned upon. Like
It's frowned upon.
masturbating on an airplane,
Frowned upon, agreed. Not, and probably illegal. Probably illegal.
Well, maybe since 9/11.
Yeah, fucking 9/11.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
Goddamn terrorists. But honestly, it really, there's so much that people don't know about, like, what the National Guard's mission is and what they're doing. Like, I know I took it very personally when I was seeing these things, and having people that I thought would know better be led astray by some of this information. And it's like, people need to fucking pump the brakes and understand really, really what's going on. Right? Your local government is not trying to fucking lock everything down. They're not going to come to your house and take your guns. They're not going to, none of that shit's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, like, as National Guard members, like, I spent my entirety of my career in the National Guard.
And a majority of mine has been in the Guard.
So, granted, we've been active in the National Guard, so our status is a little bit different, but the reality is the same. And Jason and I have both deployed in a humanitarian
We've talked about it here on the podcast multiple times, the whole Hurricane Sandy response.
Yeah. So,
I mean, we were involved in that heavily.
We know what the capability is. And quite frankly, this governor, he really doesn't present himself well. Like, when he's given a briefing or something, he seems a little Elmer Fudd-ish. I'm not gonna lie, and when he's trying to tell people, like, this is for your own safety, he kind of like he just really doesn't come off right.
Yeah, like, I watched his press conference. Yeah. He eventually articulated it enough.
Eventually, but this guy, do you think, like, he's going to activate the state and the National Guard and be like, okay, go to door and take people's guns? All those National Guardsmen are going to go, yeah, no, sorry. Yeah. I fucking hurt my ankle. I can't fucking do it. Or, no, I've got the virus. I can't fucking do it. Yeah. That's what'll happen. I remember what happened in the National Guard when they fucking made it mandatory that we got the anthrax shot. Everybody went like, yeah, no, I don't want to get fucking anthrax.
Guess who's never had the anthrax shot?
Yeah, that was a legitimate thing in the National Guard. Like, they're not fucking, it is not the standing army. It is the reserve. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you right now that there's nobody in the National Guard is going to stand up and be like, yeah, we're coming to take your guns. No, it's the militia. The National Guard is the militia.
Yeah.
So this whole concept of martial law and everything else in the United States is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the fact that somebody's telling you, stay in your home, if you don't need to go somewhere, don't fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, and you wonder why these timelines keep getting extended, because people aren't fucking doing it.
Yeah.
There's still too many fucking people. They're still crashing Walmarts and doing this shit.
Yesterday, our neighbors right fucking there had a massive fucking party in their backyard, tons of kids, tons of adults, all kinds of fucking noise. Mm-hmm. Yesterday.
Yeah. Perfect.
There was at least 20 people over there, probably more.
Yeah. And the whole, like, again, it's not, I have to remember that our background is very unique, mm-hmm. and we've been on the other side of this, and we've also been in the military the majority of our lives. Yeah. So we're used to that, like, somebody telling us, like, in order, like, when we hear the word order, like, for us, it's like, okay, somebody is telling us to do something.
Right.
For the majority of this fucking country, an order is something they do at a fucking drive-thru.
Right.
So they don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult to order around fucking civilians because they don't know.
And there's have this thing called the Constitution, which
this is people are just fucking stupid. And hey, Scott.
But yeah, no, it's again, these are all recommendations. It's like when the governor of New Jersey basically shut down New Jersey yesterday. He didn't say you have to stay in your homes or you will be shot when you go outside. It's like, no, just come on. Let's look out for everybody.
Yeah.
Don't leave your fucking houses.
You can go for a walk in your neighborhood. You can do these things. Just practice social distancing.
Yeah.
That's like the words. You know, this whole flatten the curve thing. I really just, for our little portion of this, and even our international audience is being affected by this, it's like, hey, by just having a little bit of self-discipline is going to help us get through the other side, and then deal with all the fucking problems that are going to happen after the fact, because it's going to be a shit show. It is going to be a shit show. You think the market and everything else is, oh my fucking God. We haven't seen the worst of this.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing, quite frankly, that I'm most concerned about. The things I'm most concerned about are my parents. Yep. Because if either of my parents get this and they are beyond just the like symptomatic portion,
it's dangerous.
It'll be bad.
It's very, very dangerous.
And then, the fucking economy. Like, this could have severe, years-long ramifications on our fucking economy here in the U.S.
Yeah, when people can't earn a living and they can't, you're telling them that they can't earn a living now. Now the burden's going to be on the state.
Yeah.
Because the state, otherwise known as the government, either at the state or the federal level, at some point they're going to absorb some of this impact, and that's going to...
Right, and they're doing these stimulus packages. They're talking about like $1 trillion worth of stimulus and everything.
I don't even want to talk about that. Well, because those numbers don't fucking work. Like, none of those numbers work. Whatever. I don't care. If you give me $1,000, I'll go stimulate the economy. I'll buy something I want.
Sure, yeah, no, but I'm just saying, man. Like, I think,
or Kathy will take it and then she'll put it and spend it wisely, as opposed to what I would do with it, which would be spend it frivolously.
Like, I will pre-order an Xbox Series One, thank you, or Series X, or whatever the fuck the new.
Yeah, whatever the new one's going to be.
Yeah, I think it's called Series X.
Yeah,
Xbox Series.
That's going to require another television too, because it's going to have UHD and it's going to need
4K. And,
obviously.
Yeah.
I think we need $4,000. $4,000.
Okay, get on that, Trump.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it. Make the sacrifice.
Anyway, I don't want to dwell on the COVID shit, but
yeah, we talked it to death last week.
Yeah, I just people. Like I said, I've spent a lot of time. I've texted a lot of people and be like, listen, if you want to know exactly what's going on with the employment of our military or our National Guard, fucking call me. I'm not saying all of you need to call me, but I'm just saying that there are legitimate sources out there for these things.
Yeah.
And that in no shape or form, this is without precedence. Like, we have never seen anything like this. We're writing the playbook as we go. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing like, even the federal laws and shit like that are going to come out after this, and the executive orders and the things that are going to make all this shit legal. Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned, because once we get through the actual virus part, where we're actually threatened, where our lives are threatened, regardless of what you think, then, okay, once we get the other side of that, then your livelihoods are going to be threatened. Right? Because right now, nobody's going to get fired. Nobody's going to take their homes. Nobody's going to shut off electricity. They've already established all that shit. Cool. Then we get to the other side and we'll deal with that. But in the meantime, don't have a fucking party with 20, 25 people in your yard, because one person who's asymptomatic that's actually positive and they're reaching in the same cooler to get a beer, you can get it.
Yeah.
Like, this virus is extremely virulent.
Yeah, go figure, right?
Yeah. Amazing. It's fucking amazing.
All right, so we ready to move on from this?
Yeah.
All right, so a little bit of Star Wars talk. So, Mandalorian Season 2, we know, is in production, right? Casting for Mandalorian Season 2. There's no news. Because there's nothing official on StarWars.com, so there is no casting news for Mandalorian Season 2. So that's really all we need to say about it.
Are we missing something?
Well, since I don't look at clickbait shit and shit that I know comes from very questionable sources.
Yeah.
Nothing's happened as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like the same conversation that was kind of happening before. This time they just printed it with this thing that says confirmed on it.
Yeah, we're confirmed from where?
You know what? We're confirmed, Jason. We are confirmed.
Oh, are we?
I don't know what we're confirmed for, but confirmed.
Yeah.
We are confirmed. Put it as a tag on the thing. On the how you doing? Confirmed.
Okay.
Make it so. Because obviously that's the key word that needs to happen to make
Because that makes it true.
it does.
If you put
obviously.
confirmed in the title of your article,
And it's on the internet,
then it's true.
it's got to be true.
Yeah. So
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So that's really no other Star Wars news to speak of. We did have the new episode of Clone Wars come out this week, but you and I have not watched it yet.
Right.
Because we're probably going to cover it and next week's episode in our next episode, episode 144 of the podcast.
Correct.
So I was planning on trying to watch it yesterday, but I just never really came around.
See, I had
Didn't really have the
opportunities.
time.
I had opportunities to watch it, but then I in the last podcast when we weren't doing the Clone Wars, and I had seen the episode. I just wanted to talk about it.
Right.
And I don't know. I felt like, you know what? Let me watch this in the next episode. That way it's fresh for the pod.
Exactly.
And then we'll do it then. I mean,
And it's very likely part of a multi-episode series anyway.
I think we know that Ahsoka's involved.
Yes, because if you've seen the preview, like
Right.
on Instagram or Twitter or wherever Star Wars posts the shit,
Yep.
they posted that preview, and we know it's an Ahsoka-based episode.
Dude.
Her and a couple of lesbians. So
Yeah, so it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Scissoring, all the scissoring. Gotta get some fucking scissoring in there. Sex points for the scissoring.
Indeed.
This is another thing where maybe we're missing the boat. Like, I was watching on Reddit, right? And I'm looking at everything like, oh, Clone Wars episode, whatever it is, review on Friday morning at 9 a.m. Like, how about you give some motherfuckers a chance to actually see it?
Yeah.
Like, really cool that you jumped on it as soon as you fucking had the opportunity. You maybe even saw it ahead of time because you're one of the, some people get access to shit early. Whatever. It's cool. So you're the first guy. Awesome.
Yeah.
5 years ago, that would have been like, hey, man, these people are talking about it first, and it's got to be fucking legit, right?
Right.
This day and age, it doesn't mean anything.
Well, yeah.
Like, because I've been talking about it before. Like, on Reddit, it's my thing now, which I'm finally on the bandwagon. But I'm looking at a lot of this different stuff, and people that are posting. I'm like we talk about podcasts kind of as a job, or we talk about Star Wars as a job,
Right.
and it's like, yeah, you try and be timely with these things, but I don't know that getting a review for that episode out right away is the thing. Like, is that the thing that's going to boost our numbers? Is that the thing that's going to get us a bunch of clicks?
I mean, it could be, but
I don't care how many times. We're not basing our shit on how many times you click like on an article.
Sure.
I want you to download our entire material and enjoy the entirety that is the entertainment, because let's face it, almost half of it's just fucking bullshit.
yeah. At least half of these episodes are not about Star Wars.
Right.
Are just about our fucking lives or what's going on in the world.
Yeah. So, and I get it. It's like Bronco Fett in the chat. He says, I saw it Friday morning. Nothing else to do. We're in a quarantine status. Cool. I get it.
Yeah.
And it was one of the things. It was like, I could turn on my Xbox. Like, all right, it's after work hours. I'm going to turn on Xbox. Because I've legitimately carved out parts of my day, but like, this is work time.
Right.
I'm on there making sure my fucking button's greened up on the fucking Skype, all that shit. But, and I've had John Williams going in the fucking background. Oh my God, he's so good.
Well,
Shit. Remind me of something.
Something.
John Williams, of course.
Okay.
Anyway, but I completely derailed my train of thought. So that's
about
awesome.
your Xbox time and
Oh yeah,
work time
fucking
and-
we're teleworking, so I'm actually doing my best to fucking work as much as I would when I'm at work.
right.
And if Nick's listening, he knows how much that is.
All right, no comment. I mean, that's actually a really good segue right into our weeks if we want to do that. Man, you're great with the segues today.
Nailing it.
So, yeah, so starting out with my week, yeah, teleworking. It's actually been great because I'm still getting about the same amount of work done. The whole VPN into the network, it's kind of a shitty thing, but
It's clunky and everyone's on it.
I'm still able to get shit done, and I don't have to sit in the fucking car for 2 hours a day. That's been glorious.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been fucking great. And as you know, if you listen to the podcast, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, you know how much of a shut-in I am when you listen to the story about Malawi and everything else. So this is business as usual for me.
Yep.
Like this whole thing, like I love all the memes that are like the puppet, like looking like when
Yeah.
when I realize quarantine is the way I normally live my life, and the puppet's just like,
Yep.
you know, it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's me, because I'm an introvert, I'm a shut in. I mean, besides like going to the gym and going for runs, I don't go outside much except to mow my lawn and just whatever. But yeah, man, this is business as usual for me. So, though I will say, my son Rob, I can tell he's starting to get a little bit of cabin fever, because he's a junior in high school, and
Right.
I remember that was like the peak of my like socializing and everything else. I had my core group of friends. We all had our cars. We were all driving.
Right.
And it was all about just going out and fucking hanging out with your friends. He can't do that right now. I think he's getting pissed off. He even said to me a couple days ago, he's like, God, I'd rather be in school right now.
Ha!
And like I'm expecting him to go like full Greta Thunberg on us at some point. One day he's gonna come out downstairs. He's like, this is wrong. I should be in school. I'm just waiting for that to happen. But
I want to see it happen so bad now.
yeah. And I also work out from home. I have my little home gym here, my adjustable fucking what's that brand?
I don't fucking know.
Bowflex. My adjustable Bowflex fucking dumbbells that I do all my workout routines in. Been doing that every fucking day. Been going for runs every fucking day. So while the rest of the country, I'm sorry to say, is probably staying at home eating a lot and getting fat, I'm getting fit. So I love it, man. This has been great for me.
So you say that. I had to go to the lodge to pick up something, some paperwork, because I'm stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was driving through like the Cherry Hill, Haddon Heights, Haddonfield complex,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's out. Everybody's out running, jogging, walking. Like,
that's awesome.
Just piles of fucking people. So you're legit doing 25 because you're waiting for some fucking idiot to go step in front of the car.
Right.
And it's
Who's
like
not used to doing this kind of thing.
right. And it's like, and maybe these people are used to doing it, but I'm willing to bet they're used to doing it like in the gym, like where they're on an exercise machine or on a treadmill. Now they're all outside doing it because they can't go to the gym. Like Bronco Fett's saying, his gym's closed.
Yeah.
Everyone's gym's closed right now.
Yeah.
The base gym's closed. Like,
oh, and the best validation that I got from all of this is I have two coworkers who are strictly against gym time at home, because we get an hour a day for gym, and I've straight up told these people I go home and I hit the gym at home for an hour, or actually more like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
right.
And they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. That's wrong. You can't be working out from home." And now this motherfucker's complaining, he's like, "Oh, I can't go to the gym. The gym's closed. I can go to the gym every fucking day. So
Yeah.
suck it."
Yeah, and you know what? That's. I don't even want to get into why that argument is so illegitimate for like, oh, I can't. Yeah,
Oh, I
listen,
even told the
listen. If are those people AGRs?
Yeah.
Either one of them?
Yeah.
Then they're fucking idiots.
Oh yeah.
They're fucking idiots. You're not fucking technicians. You're not fucking civilians. Your entire existence is to fucking be fit to fight.
Yep.
And by saying like, oh, you can only do it on fucking company time, then you know what? Fucking go get a job at Amazon then.
Yeah.
Because guess who's not going to give you time to go work out? Amazon.
Yeah. Well, and I even told one of the guys, I'm like, I tell you what, the day you get a higher score on your PT test than me, I'll stop working out from home. And he had nothing to say.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck that. Fuck. God.
All right. Music-wise. So, no shame in my game.
Apparently.
I've been listening to a lot of the Spice Girls lately as part of my workout music. And you know what? I don't care what anybody says. Their first two albums, the ones from the late 90s, they were very catchy. And I liked them. And you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Can you tell me what you want? What you really, really want?
Funny thing about that is probably my least favorite of their songs from that whole era.
That's like the only one that came to my mind.
Right.
For Spice Girls.
But, and now I see, I posted this on Facebook a few days ago too. I see why people said Sporty was the only talented one of the group, because she really was. Mel C, Sporty Spice, The Thin, No Tits. She was like the least attractive of the five, but she had the best voice. So, and now I understand. And yeah, she's really talented, and I can see why, because like she's always doing her like vocal gymnastics at the end of every song to kind of close it out. But anyway, that's been what I've been listening to music-wise.
Wow.
Lately.
Some people handle the quarantine differently. Everyone has their own little routine. Jason chooses to lose himself in the world of Spice Girls.
No, see, because everything comes in waves, right? Because before that it was the Bee Gees, and now it's the Spice Girls, and who knows what's going to be next?
You need to wade to a different part of the fucking pool because what you're in right now is stagnant and awful.
No, I disagree because I find it entertaining. It gets me through my workouts, so I'm going to keep doing it. And
they have so many songs, Dave. Okay, all right. Listen.
I think she's being a little facetious.
Listen, Jason, I will give Jason full credit because musically, I have a very, very eclectic music taste, right? I can listen to a lot of different shit, and it does come in waves. Like sometimes you're listening to certain genres and shit like that. So I'm just busting your balls, but in reality, like names of artists and shit like that, unless it's like something that you're going to know otherwise, I don't do that because I'll listen to things that I like just for the sake of liking it.
Okay.
Like I don't necessarily like break down lyrics. I'm not like a slave to listen to a certain artist. I have a certain sound that I want to hear, and however I get that sound, then that's what I get.
You're more of like a Spotify kind of guy?
I'm more Spotify lately because I get it for free with my phone service.
Right.
So we ditched all the other
but I mean more
subscription
like
stuff.
You type in, I like Metallica, and they give you like anything along that same genre.
Kind of, yeah. If you do like Metallica radio, it would do that. But sure. I mean, I it's to say that like for me to go on like the Used and Abused podcast and be able to talk really, really knowledgeably about a particular genre or a particular band, I'm not that guy. I mean, I could give you a lot of John Williams, excuse me, because it's a particular thing that I really, really like. And I like it because of the sound.
Yeah.
I like, I like Led Zeppelin because of certain songs. I like the sound of that particular music. There's some really fucking off the wall 60s stuff that I've heard that I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
I like the Monkees.
Yeah.
Yeah, the monkey. I like the music, even though it was like the show was goofy or whatever. Like the music for that, when I'm in the mood to listen to like the Beatles or something like that, then that's. But I don't give a shit who's more voice talented or whatever. It's just I like what I like, and if I happen to look and see who they're like, oh, I'll look at it so I can like catalog that person to download something else from them. It's a beautiful world that we live in right now, that we have such accessibility to all these different genres of music, that when you want to hear something, you say you're going from the 70s and butt scooting your way into the 90s and you get into some Spice Girls, whatever, you have access to all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. It's fucking great.
Yeah, between YouTube and all these fucking song services, Apple Music, and everything else. Yeah, it's like we have everything at our fingertips.
Yeah, like your allusion to the creator or the visionary of the internet is poignant because it gives it gives us the opportunity that we have.
I know she's in the chat.
It gives us the opportunity right now. What a fucking dick. To talk about Star Wars. It gives us the opportunity to talk about music and everything else, and work from home and do all those other things. So yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Lunar Girl's very upset that the Tool concerts have been canceled until May, so I can understand that.
Yeah, I can too. That's one of my air quote bucket list bands. I'd like to see Tool live.
Yeah,
I'm into that.
Apparently, they put on a pretty good show. So anyway, moving on with my week. Let's just finish this up. So first of all, I've still got 5 fucking Audible credits after getting the Rise of Skywalker. So we got to talk about doing some more audiobooks soon, or some just books in general. So I know we've talked about The Dark Disciple. Yeah. We've talked about your fucking Equation Squadron or whatever it is.
Alphabet.
Yeah, whatever. So we got to pick a book to do again soon. So maybe 2 weeks from now, do another book, just because I've got all these fucking Audible credits. And we've got all this time.
Hey, listeners, tell us what we want, what we really, really want.
Yes.
To do next for an audiobook.
Yeah.
For Jason.
Right. Well, I'm just saying for the show because I can use one of my mini Audible credits.
Right.
And since we're teleworking, I can do work and listen to an audiobook at the same time, which is what I did this last week.
Fair.
Yeah. So we should capitalize. Capitalize is the word I'm looking for.
Capitalize.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we will do it.
Yeah.
Make the sacrifice.
Every time. I can't help myself. All the concerts are canceled. Everything's canceled.
Yeah.
That's just
Life is canceled.
Yeah,
basically.
life is canceled right now, unless you're doing a podcast.
Indeed.
Like us.
Yeah. So, all right. Last bullet point I have for my week, and then I'll turn it over to you. Video games, man. Like all of these video game companies are fucking capitalizing on this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So both Steam and GOG.com are doing all kinds of crazy sales. Fucking World of Warcraft, if you're into that kind of a thing, they just announced a 100% experience boost. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You put those in the cooler.
Yeah. So all these video game companies are capitalizing on people being fucking home, and they're being like, hey, come play our games, come buy some more games.
Yeah.
Fucking GameStop, up until like today, I think, they were calling themselves an essential fucking business to stay open. That's just because they're fucking on the ropes and they're like days away from bankruptcy as it is, because their company fucking sucks. Fuck GameStop. But they stayed open up to this point, probably to try to capitalize on this.
Don't fuck GameStop until Nick gets our Baby Yodas from that were pre-ordered.
Well, fucking
They're
Big
fucking-
Lovin'. Was it
Big-
Big Lovin'?
No, it's Nick.
No. It was either Big Lovin' or Solsky posted in the group that they got their...
Yeah, Solsky did.
Okay, Solsky. Yeah.
Solsky got it, and Nick, Big Swede, he had gotten our, I pre-ordered with him because I canceled all my other pre-orders.
Okay.
So he had pre-ordered too,
Mhm.
and they're at GameStop waiting for GameStop to be allowed to be reopened on the base.
Right.
So they can't go in bankruptcy until that we get those things in our hot little hands.
Okay.
And oh, by the way, I will break into that bitch. Don't you worry. We're going to get our shit.
Get your Baby Yoda pop figure. Yeah. So, and I will just make a pitch again. And this will actually be a good segue into your week, probably. Fallout New Vegas. Quite possibly the greatest video game ever made. Is on sale on both GOG.com and on Steam. $10. $10 for a game that you can run on pretty much any modern computer at this point with ease. $10 for one of the greatest fucking video games ever created, if not the greatest. So, I mean, I already own it on like 3 different versions. I think I own like a console version and on 2 different PC things like Steam and GOG.com. Anyway, it's fucking phenomenal. Just get it and play it. What else do you have to do, right?
Yeah. Well, as you do bring that up, we're talking about Fallout. I am playing Fallout 4.
Nice.
We're talking about my week. So I never played any of the Fallouts.
Okay.
I had never, like, you've talked about it. I've heard other people talk about it. It's just not one of those games I was ever into.
Right.
And I was going through, turn on the Xbox, and I happened to go into the store just to see, because I have an Xbox Live Gold, and so that has access to games that are usually fairly cheap.
Right.
And I saw Fallout 4 was kind of in my queue, like, because I think I was looking at it before, like, because people talking about it. And I was like, oh, I can get Fallout 4 for 99 cents right now.
Fuck.
And it's like, okay, so what's the catch, right? It's got to be a catch.
Yeah.
And it's so the Xbox has their subscription thing where you can subscribe and you get games through their subscription.
Mhm.
And for me, because I already pay the Xbox Live Gold, all I had to pay was an extra $1 to be part of the Game Pass.
Okay.
And then so I paid $1 and now I'm playing Fallout 4.
Nice.
And I'm only on like level 5. So I've barely broke the ice on this, but
Right.
what a great time sink. Like if you're talking about trying to like get through the day, and I've been very vocal about how my attention span is for playing, like I'm into first person shooters because I like being able to go in and play for 15 minutes and shut it off.
Not that style
It
of
is
game.
not. It is a time sink for sure. And I actually had about 2-3 days where I didn't have any schoolwork.
Mhm.
We were teleworking, didn't have anything else going on. Actually got to fucking sit down and just like get into this game. And next thing I know, I'm 4 hours into the game. So really enjoyed it. Enjoying it so far, but I have to be in the right mindset for it. Like I had to stop playing it so I could read this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then now I've started school again. Like my 1 week is off.
Your spring break's over.
Spring break, yeah, my whole week between semesters. But that being said, I have this semester,
Mm-hmm.
2 classes this semester, and then my capstone, and I'm done.
So you got your grade back for your calculus?
I did. I passed.
Sweet.
C's get degrees, baby.
There
Woo!
you go.
Yeah, that was stressful. I'm glad I'm done with it. And the second half, actually, I ended up doing. It came easy. The material came easier for whatever reason. The second half, I don't know. Maybe my own stress level was a little bit less, but excuse me. God, more Barney burping. The Corona brings it out.
I know, right?
But yeah, so in school, couple of classes, like one of them's to wrap up my aviation safety minor, and another one's just an operations management, extra management course. I already have my management minor shit. So once I'm done with that, it's a lot of paper writing and shit. So there's time sinks involved in that, and like having to read a lot of material and everything. So this is Operation Normal for me. You talk about like being in a quarantine. If I have extra time because I'm not going to lodge events, like, so I'm not leaving the house to go to lodge stuff. So I have, as the secretary, I have administrative shit I'm responsible for. So I'm busy with that, and I'm busy with school and teleworking. So I'm not nearly having as much relaxation time as some, except for the fucking hours that I get back for the drive.
Yes.
You said it. You hit it right on the head. The best part about this is not being in a car for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot to be said for getting time to read a book, getting away from work, like, and putting distance between you and work so that you fucking aren't necessarily dealing with it.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. All those things. Yeah. Up until the point where I'm saving $13 a day.
Oh, just on gas, yeah.
Yeah, gas and tolls, because I take the turnpike.
Oh, right.
So between gas and tolls, that's $13 a day that I'm putting back in my pocket.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Yeah.
That's,
That's Xbox money.
it's Xbox money. Exactly. So, yes, I need to start putting that away. So yeah, I have a tough time. Like you talk about having extra time to listen to Audible. I am taking the time to actually get back into physical reading of books. Since I'm not in a car, I can't really do the Audible thing as good or as well in like just being in a house or trying to listen to it while I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
Because my brain is, I got 15 streams of consciousness going on at once.
Right.
While I'm looking at this screen and doing that. I mean, like you talk about your setup for your teleworking, you got like,
Four computers. I have
four
four computers going on at my desk.
At one point this week, I had on my big 65-inch, like I have it cantered towards me, like it's over there, like where the pops are. I had the Mac attached to that, right?
Oh, nice.
So the Mac's on there, and then I have my laptop, and then 2 screens attached to the laptop. Then I got the work laptop, and I got the iPad in the middle of it. It's just like screen heaven. Like I should have, my skin should just be a little bit tanner just from the fucking
Right.
the light coming off of that
LED light.
Yeah, which it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all the screens. I love it. Yeah, playing Fallout 4, some Modern Warfare. Not as much as I thought I would be. I really thought I'd be playing more video games times. I got to be honest. I feel like, this is great. I'm not going to have shit to do. Yeah, I'm still fucking super busy somehow.
Yeah.
I think it's just me, honestly. I think it's just...
I think that's just your personality.
Yeah, there's like a level...
You find ways to occupy your time.
Yeah, I think there's a level of chaos that I just operate better at, and I'm constantly trying to seek that. So, and then you allude to it a little bit, like, right now, it's March. It's lousy March weather.
Yeah.
On Monday, it was fucking gorgeous outside.
Yeah.
It was 79, 80 degrees. There was a little breeze. The fucking sun was out. It was fucking perfect.
Yep. I ran outside in shorts and a t-shirt. That's all I needed. I'm like, oh, perfect.
And then the next day, 40 fucking temperature degree swing, like for the high. And it was just like, fuck you, Smarch. I'd fucking,
Yeah, and then the same thing with the last 2 days.
Yeah, the last couple of days, like today it was like yesterday it was some sun. It was cooler, but the sun was out, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
And then today, there's no fucking sun and cold. It's been like in the 40s, like low 40s all day. So looking forward to like spring actually springing, like boing.
We're like right on the cusp.
So close. It's so close.
But with all these people staying inside, we're not, polluting the air, and we're not, keeping the global warming moving as it should be.
I'm telling you, I think we talked about it before. Like in China in particular, like, COVID-19 is doing more for the environment right now than any of these fucking
Right.
fucking tree hugger.
Yeah.
Because in China, like they're seeing blue skies that they've never gotten on normal days. And there's something to be said for that.
Oh, absolutely.
There really is.
And I even saw a meme, and it was, half a joke, but at the same time, maybe this is nature's way of being like, hey, fuckers, get your shit together. Maybe this is the Earth's way of correcting.
Maybe you need to work from home more. Maybe like you
and that's the thing too. Like, hopefully, like this starts a precedence with between work and schools. Like, our schools were actually pretty well on the ball when it came to the teleworking, but I've heard some schools in other states were not ready for this.
Yeah.
And,
well, we alluded to it. We're writing a playbook as we go.
Yeah.
And I think there was a meme out there, again, half joking, but in reality, all those jobs that you told us you couldn't telework for, by God, we're doing it now.
Yeah, figured it out, huh?
Yeah, it's fucking amazing that way.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think we are, as Americans in particular, America. As Americans, I think we are very, like, we work a lot of hours. And while we work a lot of hours and there's a lot of people working, our productivity isn't necessarily that high because we spend time commuting, we spend time doing all this extra shit. So that, like, you look at other countries, like, I had a good buddy who lived in Switzerland. He worked for a pharmaceutical company, and like the amount of time off that they gave him, like, no, there's no fucking telework. You're off.
Right.
Like, this is a paid holiday, and you're getting these every other month because you're going to be a better employee when you're rested and you have time with your family.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's a fucking novel concept. And at the end of this, you would hope that companies look at it and go like, you know what? If we can make available and do it where people are able to work from home, they're able to commute less, they're able to spend that extra time with their families, everything will be better.
Yeah.
Everything will be gradually better. That's going to be the good part of the stuff that comes after this. Sure. I mean, it could go totally the other way. Be like, holy fuck, everything sucked while everyone was gone. Look at the economy. Right. It just proves that we can't do this.
Well, that has nothing to do with it.
A statistical analysis is all about fucking making the numbers work for you. And
sure.
I'm willing to bet you that if the right people can make it look like this is the worst day ever, when in reality, like, from a person and productivity, like, the service industry right now is getting fucking slammed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I feel bad for them, honestly, because it sucks.
And I'm not saying that. I'm not just saying that because my in-laws are in it. They're in retail. They work for Walmart.
Oh, sure. No,
and they're, but I know nurses and teachers, like the teachers that are teaching their kids right now, and also having to run their classrooms. Like, the people that are in a service-based industry, you need to have more appreciation for them. And for what they do for us. And the other side of that is, maybe don't be such a dick in fucking Walmart. Yeah. Maybe don't fucking try and ride a bike around the store and then punch the manager when he tells you to get off the bike. Yeah, which is a thing that happened recently.
Oh my god. Well, and I'll close this whole discussion with this. We started our teleworking on Tuesday, right? You and I, especially me, I don't know what your situation is. I haven't really been trying to dig into the details, but I'm in a situation right now where no matter what happens, I'm still going to get a paycheck.
Yep.
I'm still going to make my money, no matter if I'm teleworking or they just say, you can't come in, so just stay home.
Right.
I'm still going to make money. So I actually feel a bit of a responsibility to do things like support local businesses. So Tuesday, my first day of teleworking, I told Kristen, hey, let's order dinner from this local Chinese restaurant that, they do delivery in the neighborhood and everything. That's how we need to be contributing.
Yeah.
Supporting local businesses as much as we possibly can. Obviously, we're not going to do it for every meal because it's not healthy and everything else, but, doing what we can for people like us who have that, that benefit of a job that I know I'm going to see a paycheck again next week, where, okay, let's try to spread the love a little bit. Let's try to, make sure that we spend our money with people that are going to benefit from it. Again, local businesses.
Yeah, businesses that I know in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania and a lot of areas that businesses, I know Idaho, because Bronco Fett, he works at a restaurant. They're closed. Yeah. They're and some of them are closed completely. Some of them are only dining out. Like you can only come and pick up food or get delivery. I'm 100% with you. Like I'm a salary employee. Yeah. I have the opportunity to telework, so I'm going to continue to get a paycheck. My responsibility is like when I'm logged in, I'm making sure that I'm at work. Right. I'm not taking it as a day off. This is an opportunity for me because I have the opportunity to telework. I'm still getting a paycheck, and by God, I'm going to earn it. Because there's so many that don't get that opportunity right now. Right. And kind of back on the coronavirus thing, aren't we? But listen. I 100%. I love the sentiment that you're saying. Get out there, support your local businesses,
if
and
you can. I mean, obviously, I know a lot of people are falling on hard times right now.
If you can, and you're able to telework and you have that opportunity, great. But remember all those people that are out there right now in the service industry. Remember the actual first responders of our paramedics and our police officers. The National Guardsmen that have already volunteered to go and help run testing centers and things like that. Yeah, I don't think we're even halfway through this thing, guys and gals, and we just need to support them as much as we can so we can get through this and then get to the other side of it.
Yeah, and then get to things like the Rise of Skywalker and Novelization.
At some point, but we probably have to pee before we do that.
Yeah, so are you done with your week, though?
I am done.
All right, so we will take a quick break before we get to our main topic, but it's going to be all Star Wars talk from here, we promise. So, more than likely.
Probably.
90%.
97%.
97%.
Star Wars.
All right, so, but before then, we will take a very quick break and be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Why don't you just click twice? Why hold it? Get extra clicks in that way or whatever. Snaps. What did I say? Clicks?
Yeah.
What do I click?
Yeah, what have you had? Like 2 beers? Come on.
I'm on my third.
All right. Am I going first?
Yeah, go. Yeah, that Pacific Northwest area, I would totally be like, get it. Honestly, if I didn't have to telework, and I didn't have, I would probably be out. I'd go out hiking and do shit like that. Like I was just saying, I feel obligated. I'm being paid. I'm not active duty anymore, but I still have that feeling like, hey, I'm making a paycheck to do my job, and I'm gonna, by God, I'm gonna fucking do it. Excuse me. God damn, all the burping. But yeah, it's crazy times. Crazy times, and it's so unprecedented. I'm catching up with the chat. Philly ordered to stay at home. They're a little bit behind, I think, probably because there's so many people that rely on outside businesses. Like if you live in the city, you're how much groceries you buy and shit like that are really dependent on how close you are to the grocery store. Otherwise, you're probably eating out a lot, and there's a lot of industry that are dependent on that. So, I think in the major metropolitan areas, we need to get people to fucking take a knee, just because that's where the major population centers are, and that's where we're going to probably need to get the the best part is you're probably going to be split in half for that.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be...
That's exclusive for the YouTube audience.
Yeah, anyway. It's It's a dynamite taste. Oh, God, my knees.
Dave breaking down in front of your very eyes. So, since we're on a break, gonna talk some more coronavirus. I absolutely love when I see people who are like the big extroverts that are like losing their fucking minds right now. They're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I need to get out of this house. I'm like, that's what you get. That's what you get for being that generation that's always got to have something to do. You know, it's the, I posted something on Facebook, if you're friends with me on Facebook, a few days ago about Gen X and how we were kind of the latchkey kids. We were the ones that basically had to entertain ourselves. Nobody gave a fuck if we were bored. Yeah, it was good. Which, by the way, after I posted that, people of my parents, like my mom, didn't like it, and people from her generation, like all of her like friends and people that she associated with when I was younger, that I'm friends with on Facebook, they all like had negative reactions to that. It's like, well, what the fuck do you expect? That's the way it was. I mean, you can't fucking deny that this is the way that things were back then. And I'm not complaining. I didn't complain then. Like, I liked my parents both working and not being in my fucking business, and you know, basically just doing whatever the fuck I wanted, and really just entertaining myself. And that's the thing. Like, I see these people that take their fucking kids. It's like, okay, well, we've got softball at 5, and then at 6:30 we've got their fucking hockey lessons, and then at fucking 9 o'clock, then they've got to get home and they got to do their homework, and then it's to bed and all that. It's like, you're training your kids to like fucking implode in situations like this.
Oh, God.
When you're fucking giving them things to do, like, all fucking day, every single free minute of every fucking day, and then we get to situations like this, and they're the ones posting on Facebook like, I can't do it, I gotta get out of my fucking house. It's like, okay.
The views of Jason are not necessarily the views of Dave and or the All Things Star Wars podcast.
Sure.
I think there's somewhere in between. I think that I am a firm proponent of having like organized sports as one of those things that gets you into a controlled social environment where there's like constructs where it's like, okay, you're going to be doing something, but yet you can still be socially active, because not every kid is going to be able to just go and fucking like straight up interact with people. Like they need to find that outlet where they're going to find where they're the most comfortable. Mm-hmm. For some kids, it's going to be sports. For some, it's going to be the theater, music, podcasting, right. You know, shit like that. I think it all, if you don't expose your kids to these things, I'm not saying it's necessarily like, it's a travesty, but.
Are we that far behind on YouTube?
Apparently.
Wow.
If you don't expose your kids to these things, then like they come very, very late to try and find it for themselves. And if you wait till they get into college, when now their first time they're really on their own, like really having their own thought process, and it's like, okay, I'm uncomfortable with going into a sports situation, or I'm uncomfortable with going to this other situation because they weren't exposed to it. And you kind of build up a little bit of scar tissue to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was a kid who I played a lot in the woods. Yeah. You know, I had an extremely active imagination. I think we talked about it before. Mm-hmm. I was probably one of those kids that I probably would have been on the spectrum somewhere, like ADHD, something, mm-hmm. Because of how I was. Yeah. And I can tell you that without things like organized sports and theater and things like that, like I would have been I was already a kind of a social outcast up until I got to a certain point in my senior year. But up until that point, like I had those little core group of people that could put up with me. Like there's only a handful of them, mm-hmm. like just because of how I was. Right. And then, and thankfully I still managed to thrive. I think, honestly, a lot more of the acting part, because a lot of what we do with our social interactions now is, it's an act, right? Sure. I know for me, I was explaining to my fucking therapist, it's like, you know, it's the mask I wear, mm-hmm. to be able to go out and interact with people and have normal human social interactions.
Right.
But it's exhausting. It's exhausting to be that way. But if I didn't have the theater at some point as an outlet to show that, like, yeah, I can pretend like I can operate in a normal social environment, but in my brain, it's like agonizing.
Yeah.
There's some happy medium there. And I think that's one of those things where as a parent, you're like, all right, I'm going to wind him up and let it go out that way and see how far it fucking goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you just, everything works itself out and everything happens for a reason.
I haven't told you about the Rob thing yet, have I?
Which one?
The thing that he's considering doing.
You brought up in a text. I wanted to talk about it when we were in person.
All right. Yeah, we won't
Yeah.
get into it here, but all right. Yeah, I couldn't remember if I actually told you or not. All right.
Yeah. Isaac. Hey, Isaac's. When did he jump on?
Yeah, he jumped on a ways ago. I noticed it, but there was never any break to where I could say hello to Isaac. So hello, Isaac.
Harvey Weinstein tested positive for COVID.
Is that real?
Oh man, I hope it kills him.
Well, did you see fucking
Rand Paul? Yeah, I
yeah.
did.
Well, and the beauty of that is he's one of these like hardcore libertarians. It's like the government can't tell me what to fucking do, and it's like, okay, well, there you go.
Now what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. We don't do sports. My son are Boy Scouts. Yeah, I had Boy Scouts as a kid, but Boy Scouts for me was. Boy Scouts is so dependent on the leadership, I think.
Yeah.
Like to make a difference, because I went from having a scoutmaster who was all about just getting outside and doing shit.
Yeah.
Right, and immediately followed by a guy who didn't feel like doing shit. So it was like, it was just bad, and yeah, it's so much of it's just dependent on your actual experience with one particular thing or another, and there's unfortunately there's shitty people out there.
Yeah.
There's people that are in leadership positions as coaches that should not have anything to do with fucking kids at all.
Yeah.
Because they just don't know how to fucking deal with them, and they're quite frankly they're fucking creepy, and they're probably creepy because they're creeps. I mean,
yep. I mean, it's been a big news story before. About,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I am a firm proponent of getting outside and just wherever your imagination takes you. I mean, even when I go out on hikes, and if you follow me on Instagram, you see me. I go fucking climb one of these mountains and shit like that. And in my brain, there's always all this other stuff going on, and that for me is one of those times where I'm like, you have to be in the moment,
right?
Like with that, you have to stand there and you just fucking worked hard to get to this point, and you have to kind of be in the moment.
That kind of reminds me of a couple of things. Like, first of all, we talked about this last year, and this never actually came to fruition. The whole like doing some stargazing.
Yeah,
like
that's happening this summer.
Yeah, because I don't know what the hell happened
if
last
we're allowed
summer,
out,
but it just ended up not happening. But
last summer was crazy.
Yeah, and then because Lunar Girl actually posted a picture. I'm pretty sure it was her. She posted a picture on, I want to say Instagram.
Uh-huh.
She took a picture of like a starry night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know where the fuck she lives, where there's not a lot of light pollution, but she had a really good view. Because I walk outside here every fucking night, and I can barely see a single fucking star in the sky anymore. It's sad.
I know Nick just got a new telescope. He's planning on doing some stuff. Yeah, I'm all about it. It'll go on the calendar as a dark sky fucking expedition.
Yeah, because
I want to get some pictures. Is there another beer in there?
Yep.
Sweet.
But yeah, man, like I can remember even being a kid, like, and maybe it's because I grew up in Bakersfield, California, where it was a shithole for a good portion of my childhood. Seeing just look like millions of fucking stars in the sky, and now I can't see fucking more than a half a dozen.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of light pollution here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a major metropolitan area.
Yeah,
and in one of the most populated states per square mile.
Right, which that's another thing I miss about the squadron we came from, where we used to travel the world. We'd go to these fucking remote islands that had half a dozen Americans on them, and then a little bit of local population. Otherwise, not much. And at night, you'd be outside and you'd look up, and it would just be fucking incredible.
Just absolutely ridiculous.
The amount of stars in the sky.
I think I would like, Lunar Girl. I actually get you for Lunar Girl mentioned the international station flying over.
Yeah, that's what the picture was that she posted. Yeah.
You can go to nasa.gov and sign up for International Space Station flyover text message. So you get
alerts, like, hey,
yeah.
it's about to go over your area.
Well, it'll text you like the morning of.
Okay.
And say, hey, either at night or first thing in the morning is when you'll be able to see it.
Okay.
So it's fucking great. It's bright as shit.
Yeah.
Like it's as bright as Venus. So it'd be like watching Venus like transverse the sky really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really cool to think like, for fucking humans. There to go. They're flying by.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah. We're putting it on the calendar. We're gonna have a Star Wars. It's not even really going to be Star Wars related, but it'll be totally about.
We could do it in conjunction with our galactic breakdown of the fucking Star Wars galaxy, which we've been talking about doing for a year now. So yeah, we could kind of wrap this all into one thing.
Special bonus episode, and I think no better stars than Wake. See, I've never been to Wake. Helmet Fire's been to Wake Island. I think Ascension. In a moonless night, an Ascension Island, probably the most stars I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
because there was nothing. I mean, without our fucking flashlights on, like, because we went down to the beach and saw the turtles.
I remember that.
Yeah, without the fucking flashlights on, like, you couldn't see the end. You couldn't see your hand. Like there
in
was
front of your face.
Yeah, there was no light at all. Like once the fucking vehicle had parked and shut the lights off, that was it.
Yeah.
There's like a couple of lights, but they were like over a hill somewhere. Nothing. No fucking lights for thousands of miles.
Yeah.
And the amount it was a new moon. So there was no fucking moon, all stars, just erection inducing fucking starfield. And that, I mean, I'm sure Wake is basically the same environment.
Yeah.
You know, you got thousands of miles of nothing. And then once they shut the lights off of the fucking runway, that's probably it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, one of the ones I was referring to was the Marshall Islands.
Right.
The place we stopped there. So.
Yeah. Diego's like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Diego. Oh, I love Diego. Aside from the fact you can't let the water hit your face. The tap water.
Yeah, I've only been to Diego a couple of times, and they were like one overnights. Didn't really get to do anything.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You missed out.
Yeah.
Honestly, Diego is probably my number one favorite spot on the planet.
Yeah, but I've spent a fucking week in the Marshall Islands for some reason. So anyway,
because you're broke.
Well, yeah, but I went through there more than once. All right, we ready to get back to the show?
Yeah.
All right.
This is the show. We're having the show.
Well, this is the YouTube portion of the show. All of this is getting cut out for the audio podcast.
Excuse me.
So this is exclusive for the YouTube. So for those of you joining us on YouTube, so your Isaacs, your Lunar Girl, your Helmet Fire, you're getting this exclusive because they're not going to get this in the audio version of the podcast.
Yeah, they know that. They've heard it before. Who else is in here?
I'm just touting the benefit of watching us live on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
All right, we ready to get back to it?
Yes.
All right. So we need 30 seconds of silence. So we're going to do that starting now. And we're back. You all right?
Staying alive over there?
I was. I see you recognized it. Very nice. I was actually watching a video, by the way, like how to do the staying alive dance.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it on TikTok?
No, it was on YouTube.
Oh.
But now I kind of want to learn the whole sequence, and like I would actually like learn how to dance. I've never done that before. It's never been a thing. Again, introvert and all that. So yeah, it's one of those weird things like that I'm discovering later in life. It's like, oh, I'd like to do that. So
yeah, I'm gonna die soon, so I'd like to do that.
Potentially.
That's really what it comes down to. Once you crest that 40 and you're like you're falling off the other side, you're like, yeah, I'd really like to do some of these things.
Before I die.
Yes. Before I die.
So anyway, getting on to our main topic, we are talking about the Rise of Skywalker novelization. So you're going to hear about it from two different perspectives. Dave holding the hardcover paper book in his hand, read the paper version, while I listened to the audiobook, again narrated by the great Mark Thompson. This fucking guy, I know we've talked about him before because he's narrated a majority of the Star Wars audiobooks that we've covered over the course of the podcast.
Right.
Honestly, besides the first Thrawn book, this is probably the best job he's ever done.
Really?
With any Star Wars book. Like, he was just fucking on his game. The guy is so good at voices. His fucking Leia voice was convincing. His fucking Zori Bliss voice was convincing. Though, he did have the benefit of having all of the same, like, audio distortions that, like, Zori had.
Like the vocoder type thing.
Yeah. But his fucking Kylo Ren was better than Adam Driver's Kylo Ren. Like, it was that good. Like, just
he
imagine...
is Kylo Ren. How does he get better?
I know. But I'm telling you, Mark Thompson fucking nailed a majority of these voices. I think I wasn't really fond of his Finn throughout this, but I like his Poe. He nailed Rey. He did fine with the fucking British accent and the way she talks and everything else. Like, the guy is fucking brilliant. And after listening to this, I started doing some research on the guy. Right. He's about our age. He's 44 years old.
Okay.
He's on Instagram. I followed him on Instagram. His main like splash picture is like him in fucking Jedi robes holding the lightsaber. I'm like,
nice.
I like this fucking guy.
He's one of us.
I would love to talk to this fucking guy. Like, and just if we could ever score an interview on this show, I'd want it to be him at this point. Like, he is so fucking good at these audiobooks. Like, his Thrawn is fucking just enthralling. It's so good. But most of the voices he did for Rise of Skywalker were all fucking spot on, really good, and the guy just does a phenomenal job. Like, he's really, really good.
Yeah. I've only... Most of the books that I've listened to are not on the main track of the Star Wars book. So, like Alphabet Squadron, like, honestly, most of the ones I've listened to have been narrated by women.
Oh, really? Well, like, we know Ahsoka obviously was actually XD.
Right.
But...
Ahsoka, Alphabet Squadron, Galaxy's Edge, like, they're all narrated by women. And I've listened to other ones too. It's they all start kind of jumbling together, but
Bronco Fed mentioned his Chewie. Yeah, every time he did Chewie in that audiobook, I wanted to open up some arteries in the bathtub. Yeah, that was bad. Everything else was really good, though. But yeah, his Chewie was kind of poor.
Yeah.
But he did a really good C-3PO. Also, again, they gave him the robotic voice. He did Babu Frick. He did fucking Dio with the fucking all of the robotic sounds.
No, thank you.
Yeah, but it was good. It was great, actually.
Yeah.
So,
and I will tell you that one of the reasons that I got the physical copy of the book was I wanted a different perspective. We've talked about it a little bit. Rise of Skywalker has, I have this kind of melancholy about the movie because of it being like so final. And so I haven't watched it again since we saw it in the theater.
Right.
Something we didn't talk about in that kind of the preamble to the show, the hour-long preamble, was I haven't gotten a digital copy yet. At this point, I'm probably going to wait until I get the Blu-ray copy, and then I'll have the digital copy at that point.
I'm pretty much in the exact same boat, honestly.
Yeah.
I haven't bought the digital either. And
we're missing it. The John Williams thing I was going to bring up was the John Williams extra that's on there, because I want to see that.
Yeah, but that's on the Blu-rays too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's probably, if I'm anxious to watch it again, it's because of that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm okay with waiting. I was okay with waiting to get the physical copy of the book.
Yeah.
The voices of the individuals in the book, like the story, like the voices and everything else are already out there, right? And I want them to be in my head the same way that I would as I ingested it in a theater, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
It's if I listen to Mark Thompson do it, it's going to take longer. You know, I don't know how long the audiobook was.
9 hours, 37 minutes.
Which is fairly short.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a short book.
Yeah.
And, you know, Bronco Fett and a handful of others that were in the Sidebar Cantina, which you can subscribe to on Facebook, Yeah, it's a shorter book.
Yeah.
And for something that's like the expanded edition, kind of expected something a little bit more heft. So I can read this quickly. I read it all yesterday,
The whole thing?
basically.
Damn.
Like I got through chapter 2. And then I put it aside for a little bit. I was like, I'll wait till the weekend. And then yesterday I was like, okay, let me just put this down.
Yeah.
And so, and it's short enough where I do that. There's two things. A, I have the benefit of not having to develop my imagination to the characters because I know the story. I know how it ends.
Right. We all do. Yeah.
Right. And I know all the voices. I know all the character development. I don't have to do any of that. Like in my brain, I don't have to do that.
Mhm.
So I was able to just digest the differences,
Right.
which is mainly what this podcast is about. This podcast,
Exactly. Yeah. That's what my 3 pages of notes are. It's just on the
Right.
differences.
Yeah, it's the expanded edition. Like what we've been looking forward to is getting more what we didn't see in the movie. We want to see some background stuff. We
Yeah.
wanted to get some like, okay, there's some gap fillers and things like that
Yeah.
are they're proposed we're going to be in the novelization. This is why it's so important, I think, to get this.
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you, straight out the gate, I think there was more things told to us or explained to us in this book than The Last Jedi or the Force Awakens novelization.
Right. And I was going to say that. Like, I didn't read either of those, but just from the experience that I got from this, I'm like, there's no way that those novelizations got this deep into this and had this much extra content.
I would agree. And which is it's really it's a weird dichotomy because you're reading it and you're going like, okay, there's not a lot of content here, right? This is basically you're getting the script, right? Because you're
Right.
reading the scripted line,
Right.
and then there's some extra background, and that extra background ends up being more. I think it's a graphic novel, honestly.
Yeah.
Once you take all the fucking movie out of it,
Oh, yeah. Just imagine doing the audiobook. Like, it's really like listening to the movie with just
Right.
this extra stuff filled in.
yeah, that'd be weird. That'd be,
But
'cause
it's good, though.
yeah.
That-
I'm not envious of that particular experience because I deliberately wanted to do it this way and I'm glad that I did.
Mhm.
But I know from listening to some of the other like I'm a really recent audio listener to books because I have a very particular way that I read.
Yeah.
And so listening to a book, some of it can get very, very monotonous. And
Yeah.
I have a tough time with that. Like I'll bump that bitch up to fucking 1.5
Yeah.
and listen to Mark Thompson or fucking whoever read it just a little bit faster because like come on, fucking get on with it. I know that in a paragraph we're actually going to get to something. Like I don't need to fucking have a description of this person's fucking hair.
Right.
Like awesome, great. I'm glad you're trying to paint a picture for me. I've got my picture. Let's move the fuck on.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I think the book overall, I think it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed reading it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the same for the audio. The audio was very entertaining, even though, like I said, we've seen all of this in the movies. Like I saw it 4 times in theaters. You saw it, what, 3 times?
Mm-hmm.
We knew it was coming. We knew what was going on, but they still kept it entertaining. And like, there's a lot of extra shit that adds a lot of context to some things that didn't happen in the final cut of the movie. And it makes me wonder, like, how much of this stuff was filmed? How much of it was just stuff that was in the original draft of the script that they're like, now we don't have time to make this or whatever? I'm really curious as to, the breadth of this
Well, I think
story.
people that have already watched the digital copy and seen some of the extras. Hang on.
He goes from burping to yawning.
Wow. Damn. I get tired.
Yeah.
I needed more oxygen right then. That's what yawning is. It's your body like wanting to draw in more air so you can get more oxygen
Okay.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, so people that have watched the movie and watched some of the extras, I know that they've gone on to say that there's fuck, I lost my train of thought. The yawn completely threw me off. But you're talking about like there's I've seen stuff on Reddit that's talked about like the JJ script. There's got to be a fucking JJ version of this movie that's out there.
Right.
You know, one that's got some of this extra stuff
Like
in
the
it.
director's cut.
Yeah, the
and
director's cut, because of the things that they talk about in the book. They made it seem like that this is stuff that JJ would have had in the movie, but it had to hit the cutting room floor because of time or whatever.
Sure.
So I think that JJ had a lot of this in mind. And let's not forget, you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Just needed to touch your face?
Yep.
Just then?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. Just looked at the chat. Yeah, I touch my face a lot too. It's the beard. It just makes me touch my face. Anyway, yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said for what they would have to go into this movie, what JJ had to kind of create, because The Last Jedi exists, right? Like it or not, The Last Jedi exists.
Right.
It's canon.
Yes.
So now it's like, okay, this is how I foresee. This isn't how I would have gotten the movie to this point, but here's where I have it, and now I'm going to enable this by doing these things. And some of it, like we're going to start talking about the opening sequence.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about differences. The opening sequence is
It's
fucking
already different right out the gate.
Kylo, you know, in the movie, Kylo Ren is fucking in the forest. He's decimating the Mustafarians.
Yes, which Mustafar confirmed, right?
Right.
So that was one of my first fucking notes. Is there was some talk after the movie came out, like we think that's Mustafar, where he gets that first fucking Wayfinder, but
Right.
we weren't sure. I think it might have been revealed in the
dictionary.
In the visual dictionary, but I think we still weren't sure at this point. But yeah, it's confirmed in the novel at this point.
Yeah.
So
And
but
Bronco.
that's where the movie started.
Right. That's where the movie started, and you get, and I think we even talked about it when we saw the movie, that like, all right, the opening sequence is like, you're going to have a montage.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's Kylo Ren fucking kicking ass and fucking getting there, and all of a sudden, boom, he's at Exegol having a conversation with Palpatine. All this happens in the first fucking like 3 to 5 minutes of the fucking movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not where we start in the book.
No, we start with Rey in the book, because Rey comes in after that, where she's floating and she's doing the "Be with me" and all that. We pick up before that scene where it's her and Leia, and they're talking about stuff, and Leia's like, well, if you concentrate enough, you can hear the voices of the Jedi that came before you.
It's kind of like, because we see Rey in that scene.
Yeah.
It like jumps to her. She's already in the air. The fucking rocks are floating around.
It's already in progress.
So the narration that we're getting out of the book is like the preamble to that particular scene.
Yes.
And which makes a lot of sense, you know,
and
because
that's fine.
it immediately, what we're establishing is that Leia is definitely Rey's master at that point. Like, okay, I'm going to do your Jedi training now, and here's what you're going to do.
Right. And one of the first note that I took on my page was Rey asking Leia, why did you stop training with Luke?
Right.
So it's already going into that, like, hey, you were Jedi training. What the fuck? Why did you stop?
Right.
And, she didn't get into the details then, but...
Yeah, let out Rey, even, in Rey's internal dialogue was like, yeah, I can't fucking, I'm not making it. I'm gonna distract her now.
Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when we're given a check ride. And it's like, all right, let's get the evaluator off fucking track and start talking about some other shit.
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily paying attention to what I'm doing. You're fucking, I'm going to get you into monologuing into something else.
Well, because, peeling back the curtain a little bit, I know there was one thing that everybody said with Jimmy. If you start talking about this, then he'll get off on these tangents. And there was one for you, too, and I can't remember what the fuck it was. It was, the younger folk, we'd be like, all right, if you just start talking about this with Dave, then he'll start getting off on these rants. Then he won't ask you, like, evaluator questions.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there was something, though.
Yeah, we're talking like 10 years ago at this point.
Easily.
So, all right.
But yeah, but that's what basically Rey is doing. He's like, okay, I'm going to distract my teacher because I'm not necessarily doing as well on this as I think I should be.
Right, and at the same time, she's having all these dark visions. She's having these visions of Kylo, and that's where we're introduced to him in this.
She's having visions. Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's having the visions of him kicking ass on fucking Mustafar, right? So it's not just that scene; it's her seeing that, and it's her, her vision of him, fucking body slamming motherfuckers into the ground and just
Yep.
kicking the shit out of people. But even that scene is expanded upon, where there's like some fucking sludge giant that comes out of the fucking water,
Right.
and like tells him, "Oh, the thing that you're looking for is over there."
Yeah, it
And,
reminds me of in Rebels. You had the that Force presence.
oh, it starts with a B. The something two, Badu.
Batu, isn't it Batu?
No, Batu's the planet. Bendu.
Bendu, yes. Jedi Bendu.
Yeah.
As a reference to like the original like throwback. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. As soon as they talked about this being that came up and said, "Okay, you beat all the fucking guys,
Mhm.
you beat all the fucking these people that you're supposed to beat," and Kylo's like, "Yeah, that was fucking easy.
Yeah.
Why don't you give me something hard next time?
Yep.
To get to the Wayfinder," and he gets it.
So we get some more revelations right from the start here. This planet that they're on, that the rebellion or the resistance starts on, that Rey's doing her little Jedi training course and all that, it's the same planet that Luke and Leia were training on in that one flashback that we get.
Right.
In addition to that, Leia talks about, getting all this training from Luke, and she also mentions having visions or getting training from Obi-Wan and Yoda.
Right.
Like them speaking to her as, spirits or whatever. So
Right.
we get all this fucking knowledge just like vomited on us right from the get-go.
Yeah, so the things that they're developing as like, okay, Qui-Gon, they kind of make the initial like Qui-Gon being able to communicate with Obi-Wan and
Yeah.
with Yoda, or Qui-Gon speaks to Yoda first, and then
Yeah.
because that's actually in season 6 of the Clone Wars, where Qui-Gon's speaking to Yoda.
Okay.
That's towards the end of season 6. We have to watch the rest of season 6, by the way.
Yeah.
I think we just do. But I think that you're getting a really good idea of what are you looking for?
A righty thing.
A utensil with which one writes?
Yes.
That's a
Don't worry
screwdriver.
about it. Forget it.
How do you not have a pen?
Right there. Sorry. Continue.
Ass. She's fucking distracting me with a goddamn.
Talking about the spirits talking to Leia.
Yeah. So we established it with Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon speaks to Yoda, and now this like Qui-Gon is the epicenter of being able to communicate to other Jedi through the Force, and so they're communicating with Leia. We talked about it in Aftermath how much Leia actually how much the Force actually spoke to her.
Right.
Because it seemed like she never used it. Like when we see Last Jedi and we see Leia, Space Leia flying to the fucking thing, right? And we get into that in here where Leia recounts that actually using the Force. Yeah, he's like 5. He's plenty away. Don't worry. Leia goes into like that event and how much it took out of her.
Right. Yeah. And her body's been kind of like decaying ever since.
Yeah,
Or it's been deteriorating.
Because something like that, it's like, okay, you can imagine how much like in a vacuum of space and you're trying to fucking pull yourself towards the fucking portal.
Right.
Okay, if you're gonna use the Force to do that, it's gonna take something out of you, just like it fucking killed Luke.
Yeah.
So the book does a really good job, and I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but if we're skipping the rock across the pond that is this book, it hits on how the Force takes a toll on the living.
Yeah.
And
on at least your physical manifestation.
Yeah, on your living, on the fucking meat, it's the meat that the fat is driving electrically.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, Luke talking to Leia throughout the book was
and that
awesome.
was another thing.
Yeah.
Throughout the course of the book, Luke reaching out to Leia and be like, Leia,
it's time. And Leia be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So there's a closer bond there than we're given throughout this. Obviously, because the death of Carrie Fisher, we weren't able to like fully flesh that out.
Right. But do you think, both with the book and with the movie, do you think that the story would have changed? Do you think JJ being JJ, do you think that they would have used Leia any differently? I mean, how much Would Leia live to the end of this to see the fucking rebellion?
I think she would have lived too close to the end of this. Yeah.
Interesting.
The word that I always heard from the beginning of the inception of this trilogy was Han was going to be the primary throwback character for Force Awakens, then
Right.
Luke in Last Jedi, then Leia in Rise of Skywalker. You know, that's the way it was going to be. Unfortunately, Carrie Fisher died unexpectedly, and they kind of had to make do with what they had. But yeah, Leia was supposed to be a primary focus. Yes, I think we were still supposed to get her being Rey's master.
Right.
Delve a lot into Leia's more experiences, but I think she would have had a lot more hands-on involvement with, especially the Ben storyline,
Right.
and whatever happened with him.
Well, that's fair, I guess. I guess I'm thinking that reading it in the book, how great it was that we expanded on what Leia had actually said. It was like so you got what Leia said in the movie, and it was like the
Yes.
before and after what she actually said, which
Right.
gives it context, because there's a little bit of it's a little out of context sometimes.
And we talked about it when we
Yeah.
reviewed the movie. It was a lot of her scenes were a little awkward because
Yeah.
it was old footage tied together with new footage, and they
Right.
tried to make
And it was
work.
Force Awakens footage too. It wasn't like it was Last Jedi footage. It was all
Right.
Force Awakens footage. But how fucking awesome it was that we could still celebrate one of the most important characters in Star Wars,
Yeah.
and be able to, throughout the entirety of almost the entire movie, you have her being one of the primary characters in this thing,
Yeah.
and she's not alive.
I know.
Like, that's what's fucking crazy about this. And to, whatever misgivings you may have about what J.J. Abrams did with this storyline, because, it's very, very divided. You still have the Last Jedi people that are like super, super into that and whatever. But the reality is the movies that they completed and were able to keep Carrie Fisher in and Princess Leia in the storyline to the very, very end, they did a great job. This book reinforced it for me.
Yeah, no, they did such a fantastic job of better integrating her into this story than the movie was able to do because of, again, the limitations that we had.
Right.
So, yeah, the book really fleshed that out. They did a really good job. Kind of moving on from that, though, just to kind of keep this rolling.
Whatever, Jason.
So, chapter
It's not
2.
like we have a curfew or something.
Chapter 2 was the Kylo Ren chapter. This was the chapter that was focused on him first kicking ass on Mustafar,
Right.
and then going to Palpatine and everything else. So already we're out of order from the fucking movie, but
Right.
it makes sense in the way that they did it. First of all, Mustafar confirmed, like I said, that was Vader's old homeworld. In fact, there was a portion of this chapter where Ben saw like the ruins of Vader's castle. Kind of
Yeah, there was like a pile of and there was even a pile of rocks like when he went in past the shit monster.
Yeah.
That it was like, okay, this is obviously the remnants of his fucking temple.
Mm-hmm. They referred to the people as barbarian colonists and Vader cultists,
Right.
Which ties back to Aftermath, right? Because we had those like 2 or 3 chapters throughout the course of the whole Aftermath trilogy where there were these fucking cultists looking for like the Vader's lightsaber, some other fucking artifacts,
Right.
No context whatsoever to any of that beyond those chapters. Well, now we finally kind of get that spelled out where it's, these guys were just these Vader cultists, and somehow they fucking made this colony on Mustafar. They had the fucking Wayfinder.
The other thing about Mustafar too, and again, not to belabor the second chapter, but I think they did a good job of describing like, here's why Mustafar had like these kind of trees looking things. Like, there had been a point on Mustafar that it had changed, and they were able to develop like crops and do things like he
Yeah.
just coughed. Did you see that? Oh my God. Oh my God.
6 feet.
Oh, I gotta die.
Again, Corona going down the wrong pipe.
Yeah. Allegedly. Anyway, I just appreciated what they did with Mustafar and be like, okay, let's establish why he was here. Like, it was such a short part of the movie, but it gave us a more solid footing on why Kylo was there, and it didn't make it seem so fucking easy.
Right.
I mean, Kylo ripping through people was a great fucking scene, man. You just tell like just the rage and just using
determination.
Yeah, it was like everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
And he knew everyone was going to die. He told basically like, hey, stay the fuck back. I'm gonna start fucking people up. And then you had you had Price and fucking Hux looking at him, like you get the viewpoint from Hux going like, he's a fucking lunatic. Like, you half admire, like Hux half admired it just because like just the power of it, but at the same time Hux they're developing Hux already as Hux doesn't give a fuck what happens so long as Kylo Ren eats shit.
Yeah. And I guess we should go ahead and say this now. If you have any intention to read the novelization, you're going to get full spoilers from here. So if you don't want to have anything spoiled from you that's in the novelization, stop listening right now. But
do we really? All right, I guess so. Yeah.
Well, because you bring up the Hux thing.
It seems appropriate.
Yeah, you bring up the Hux thing. They expanded on his role as the spy a lot more in this, where it wasn't just about him betraying the First Order. He still wanted to be the supreme leader of the First Order. He just needed to, subvert, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Subvert's a word.
Yeah, but he basically wanted to get Kylo Ren out of the picture.
Yeah.
Right? He
wanted to take him down a peg. Yeah. Kylo Ren needed a loss.
Right.
And even Kylo Ren was doing a really good job of like sowing his own dissent, because every time somebody countered or asked a question, Ren was like, are they fucking asking a question because it's important strategically, or are they just questioning me or my abilities? Like, how could they ever if they see me do all this shit, how could they ever wonder how powerful I am? Kylo Ren, huge fucking chip on his shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And I have to agree with all the people online that are like how much Adam Driver fucking like put these things on his shoulder, like to really. I was glad that in these scenes that fleshes out Kylo Ren's character and his conversion to Ben and things like that.
Yeah.
Don't have to read a lot about the battle itself and the impressiveness of the fucking scenery and everything else. You just look at what was Ren thinking at the time, and the conflict in Ren was always there.
Yeah.
And the raging was against the fact that he's like, fuck you, I've done everything to get rid of the light. Like, fuck you and your light and everyone the fuck else. both fucking middle fingers.
Yeah.
You can all go fuck yourselves. And yet it's still fucking there.
Yeah.
And it drives him to insanity, and it drives him to these fucking rages.
Yeah. But this second chapter, it was a long chapter, but quite frankly, chapter 2 was my favorite chapter in this whole fucking book. As Ben goes to Mustafar, and then he goes to fucking Exegol to confront Palpatine, because we get so much more on that. So, Palpatine said to him, Snoke was nothing but a test for you. He mentioned, like, I created Snoke. Like, when Ben's like, I killed Snoke, he's like, well, I created Snoke.
Yeah, and we see that. We get the visualization of that in the movie, because we see
the two Snokes in the jars.
Yeah, we get Snoke in a jar.
Right. But yeah, Palpatine's just like straight up like, no, I sent Snoke to be your fucking test. You passed the test when you killed him. And it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah. First of all, Palpatine does not know nearly as much. Like, this is reading it in the book, and you have this idea already that, like, all these things that Palpatine did foresee, right? And did work towards, and have all these people fucking know. Like, yeah, I called that. That's like calling a fucking pool shot after it fucking happens. He's like, he congratulates for fucking killing Snoke. I don't think that was the fucking plan.
You don't
think
so?
I think that the plan, fast forward a little bit, the plan was to get Rey to Palpatine.
Sure.
How that happens is, I don't think he knew.
Right.
I don't think he knew how that was going to go down. Do I think that he foresaw Ren and fucking Rey taking down Snoke? I don't think so.
Right.
I think Palpatine, we give him a lot of credit because he has been pulling the strings, and he's gotten to this point.
They even get into it deeper in this book, too.
But I think at the end of the day, Palpatine is as reactionary as everything else. It's like, okay, that fucking happened. You're like, yeah, fucking, I knew that was going to happen. Like, oh, okay, sure. Like, any pool shot you've ever taken ever where you fucking called that shot, like, you didn't know you were going to fucking do that. Stop it.
Yeah.
And I got to a point with Palpatine and was like, dude, whatever. Just be like, hey, I need you to do a fucking thing for me. And I'm alive. Ha ha! That should be enough, you know? It's like
Yeah.
you don't have to be like, I called everything to this point. Now go fucking kill her. Dude, you projected yourself in the Force to fucking put voices in the head. You made fucking Snoke do all this shit. Get this fucking broad yourself. Like, what the fuck were you doing? Like, I don't understand how Palpatine's power was so limited that he couldn't affect Rey the same way he affected Kylo Ren.
They got into. Well, I mean, that's a whole other thing. Like, maybe she was just that well hidden. I don't know, but yeah, they talked about like how this fucking clone body, which again, we got another confirmation that the body that he was in Rise of Skywalker was a clone of himself.
Yeah. Yep.
That it was not powerful enough to contain all that was Chief Palpatine, you know?
And does that bring us to a natural step forward where we talk about like kind of the Palpatine breakdown?
Sure.
You know, listening, reading it, getting the idea that Palpatine, as he was falling into the fucking abyss, that, guess what? He didn't call that, folks. Like, he may have been planning the First Order and may have had fucking Sith people, like, making Star Destroyers and shit like that. Like, I can buy all that. I can, because it's fucking Palpatine, right? But that, like, as he's falling, and he's like, fuck it, I gotta go. And he fucking yeets his yeets his soul out of his fucking body.
He's like, this bitch empty.
Woohoo! It's fucking out. And now it's like, and then there's a fucking, some Sith alchemist with the fucking catcher's mitts, like, I got him, right? Shove him into a fucking body, or 2 or 4 or however many it is. Like, okay, I need more than that. Like, we could assume that something like that had to happen, right? It's either that or they were fucking scraping Palpatine bits off of some fucking speeder window, and then fucking like threw him back in a test tube and fucking grew it that way.
Yeah.
Instead, they said, okay, I got from Plagueis. I know how to make myself eternal. Right, I've had my fucking Sith alchemist working on his shit for fucking ever.
Right. Now, and see, this is actually the one thing that I had an issue with in this novel. With all of the extra information that they gave us regarding Palpatine, regarding his son, this should have been its own separate book. Honestly. Like, there should have been a Palpatine novel or trilogy of novels or whatever, you know, completely about him and his contingency plan and how he fucking lived after Return of the Jedi and who the fuck his son was.
Listen, if you had done like a Darth Plagueis novel, right?
Yeah.
Because again, Plagueis is not, it's Legends material, right?
Well, but
no,
I mean,
Plagueis,
the book itself, yes.
The book is.
But the character and some of the things that he did are canon based on this book.
Plagueis' existence is canon, and what he provided or what Palpatine got from him is also canon.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the novelization. The novelization that was
novel,
Plagueis is not canon. If you were going to do something about Plagueis, right, and you choose not to use this particular material, then I think you could probably at the end of it go like, okay, Palpatine gets what he wants. Kind of remember at the end of the Bane trilogy, right? It left it open enough where it's like, okay, fucking Homegirl is the winner.
Right.
Right? I can't think of her name right now. Homegirl fucking was the victor, but there was enough of Zana.
Yeah.
Thank you. And good pull. And Bane there was enough like of an illusion that Bane might be impregnated into her fucking DNA even, so that Bane still kind of existed.
Right, because she got that fucking hand twitch or whatever.
Right, and she was dealing with that. They left it open enough where I think if you had a Plagueis novel and you could say, okay, Palpatine, as soon as he decides that he's going to, this is what he's going to do. It's like, I am going to rule the galaxy, but I got to play the long game here.
Right.
Like, how do I do that? Like, okay, and here are my contingency plans. You could finish up a Plagueis-like novel with Palpatine. Like, it doesn't have to be about Palpatine. Because the same issue I'd have with a novel about Palpatine is what I would have with a fucking movie about Kenobi. We've got a lot of information, and we're covering a lot of the timeline. I think that we'd be, like, tripping over shit that we already know to get to a point that you could very easily handle in something else.
Okay, well, and I don't disagree with you there. But what I'm talking about specifically are how he survived, that this was a clone body and who the fuck his son was. That, I think,
Yeah.
is the bigger revelation
Like, how
over anything else.
How the fuck did his son not have any power? Like, how did
Right.
the creation of a body that is his son? I think. Well, Isaac brings up a good point. Is his son a clone?
He is. Well,
He is.
And spoiler alert. Yeah, his son, as you see in a later chapter, was another clone of Palpatine that
Right.
wasn't quite perfect. But he's like, just fuck it, just let him go out and basically let him spread my seed a little bit. Is essentially what Sheev said.
It was one of those things where they created a clone that would live, because it seemed like a lot of the other clones just were like Galaxy Quest style, fucking showing up on it like they're all fucked up.
Well,
and all these extra fucking drugs to stay alive, and this one fucking wow, okay, we made a perfect humanoid, but homeboy doesn't have any force ability whatsoever.
Well, I'm thinking like Alien 3. Did you ever see Alien 3 where
No.
they had all the different clones of Ripley?
No.
And they were all like fucked up and everything? Okay, yeah.
Well, we get that in the Force Unleashed too, where you have all those fucking clones of
That is true,
of
yeah.
Skywalker,
Yeah.
or not
Or
Skywalker,
Starkiller.
Starkiller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to? Are we done talking about the Palpatine?
Well, just that was the big thing that I took away from this. His son was a clone.
Yep.
And it's revealed in this, and there was some clickbaity shit going on about it, but I'm like, nope, I'll read the novelization and I'll find out for sure. Well, it was confirmed. There's still probably a whole novel's worth of a story to tell just about this guy.
Right.
This guy who's like a fucking clone of Palpatine, like just being thrown out into the world. Like, what the fuck? You know?
Not only is he thrown out into the world, he probably gets himself a job, and he's like
Yeah.
fucking working. He's the night shift manager at a fucking grocery store, and him and Chad Vader are working together, and fucking and he hooks up with some fucking broad and gets her pregnant. And then cool. By a more, as it says in the book, by a more natural means.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
instead of like, okay, I've got my DNA, cool. It's all coded. It's all right here. Just the fucking metachlorians don't want to fuck around with it.
Right.
So he's going to fuck this broad, right? This broad's going to get pregnant. Whatever that broad produces is going to be pure.
Yeah.
And so I will need to occupy it.
Yeah.
Yay, verily. Which is kind of creepy. That he wants to
Little bit.
occupy his fucking granddaughter.
Yeah. Do it. Make the sacrifice. So, all right. Before we carry on, we actually have to take a second break because we've been drinking a lot of Coronas. We will be.
Let's face it, it's water.
It is, but we're drinking a lot of it, so more bathroom breaks must be had. But we will be right back after this word from our sponsors.
There you go. See, that's what I mean. You get your snaps in that way. While you're out there, you should get more beers.
Should I?
Yes. I'll cut the limes. Ew. Yeah. What? This? Or the fact that Palpatine was trying to get inside his granddaughter. That's the ew. See, Jason's. God damn it, Jason! You don't. This is not a utensil for cutting fruit. Anyway, I should just use my knife. Even though it's probably dirty. Whatever. Yeah, I think we give Palpatine all this fucking credit for predicting all this shit. I think we give him too much credit. I think he just reacts effectively to whatever's going on. Yeah, I mean, dude, the man executes the long game better than anybody. I mean, the gold standard. But when something doesn't go the way he thought it was, he just goes like, yeah, I called that. Okay. Like that Tom Brady going to fucking Tampa Bay. Oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Did you? Did you really? Because I don't think Tom Brady knew that was going to fucking happen, but okay. Sure, we'll go with it, Papa Palpatine. Just, yeah. All the Palpatine dick riding that goes on for how fucking powerful he is. And he is crazy powerful, and he does have the gift of the gab to, affect the galaxy in the way that he wishes. But, you know, I think we have to just understand that some shit that he didn't call that shit. He's just reacting to it. That's my 2 cents. That whole thing. This is the worst knife ever, by the way. I can't even. Oh.
She locked the fucking door.
She locked the fucking door.
Yeah.
Why?
Like, I don't know. She's like, oh, I didn't mean to.
Careful.
Yeah,
Is this mine? Yes.
Not mine.
How'd it get all the way over there?
I don't know. What were you doing while I was gone? We can roll the video.
Cutting limes.
Oh, okay. So, gotcha. How'd it go this time? Better?
No, that knife sucks. It's not the right knife for that. And
Can't do anything right, Dave.
Lunar Girl confirmed that, yes, ew, for Palpatine.
Ew?
Getting inside his granddaughter. Yes, make the sacrifice. I can't not.
Yeah.
Do it. Come on. Do it.
Uh,
It's happening. I foresee it.
yeah.
Why isn't it happening yet? Free up storage space. Load disk space. Fucking.
Ooh, what?
On this fucking laptop.
Unclean. Oh.
You are unclean.
No.
Fucking Coffer McCofferson over
I
here.
wash my hands almost every time I use the bathroom.
I don't even give a shit about you touching your dick. I just don't want you fucking coughing on me. Remember going through all those courses with the flight attendant training and
Oh, the one guy who was like a real germaphobe.
Yeah, huge germaphobe. He was telling us how bad hand sanitizer is because it cracks your fingers. And now it's open for like bloodborne pathogens, shit like that. Which he's 100% correct.
Right. Well, this
He
was the
was an
same
extremist, but
yeah, this was the same guy that was telling us that the end of the human race is going to be like a viral infection.
he
right?
did so. Not to dwell on anything, but fuck it. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had this guy. He was when we went to Dallas for our flight attendant refresher because we had responsibilities for getting people out of the airplane safely.
Yep.
So we contracted somebody to do it. This guy, super knowledgeal guy.
Oh yeah, no,
you
I
know,
really enjoyed his courses.
Yeah, great instructor, really engaging. But he was like his degree was in like virulent fucking flus and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he studied it, and he was an EMT and a fireman, and fucking did these things, and he was exposed to a lot of these things, and he went into detail about how like the coding for H1N1 and H1N2 and how many fucking into the G's for all this shit. Like how many viruses there really were, how many airborne respiratory viruses there really were.
When this coronavirus shit started kicking off, I immediately thought about him. I'm like, oh my god, this is probably like validation for him. He's like, see, I told you.
Yeah, he's in some fucking bunker somewhere right now. But he's every time I use hand sanitizer, I think of that guy because he was so against hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, it's effective to a point, but excessive use of it and it starts cracking your fingers, and now you have open wounds, so that if you get something that's bloodborne, now you're more prone to getting something like that.
He was also on about antibiotics too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's founded. That's, I mean, yeah. Would have been cool to see some old Sith ghosts communing with Palps. I think you know what. Let's get started. We can. That's a good Star Wars related thing that we can
All right.
talk about.
30 seconds of silence starting now. And we're back again. So somebody brought up something in the chat about the ghosts of Sith potentially talking to Palpatine the same way Jedi ghosts talk to, Rey and Leia and all of that.
Right.
So you were gonna say,
No, I think that this is a very underutilized thing. We don't get a lot of information from the Sith side of things.
yeah, especially not in the new canon.
Yeah, in the new canon, like with the movies and everything else, we're getting everything that the Sith are doing. The Sith, air quote, right?
Yeah.
But we're not actually seeing like how does all this stuff come about? I think that this whole plot line with the Wayfinders. I was gonna say Wayfair, but that's a store. That's an online store. The Wayfinders. This is probably the first time we've really seen anything besides like a Sith holocron used, where we can understand like that the Sith are doing something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's this background information. We have all this background into the Jedi because okay, cool, whatever. Everyone wants to see the fucking White Horse and the Lone Ranger and all that other bullshit. They don't really care about the side of villainy, but maybe. Well, I guess that's not true. Now I'm saying out loud because we get a pretty good flush out of Anakin.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, yeah, the lore of the Sith and everything else, especially
Yeah.
again in the new canon, has not been fleshed out enough.
But are we biased because we've been through all the Legends material that
Probably.
will show us so much more of what the Sith would do?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like how Moraban and those places were
aka Korriban.
Korriban and Ship.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the most famous fucking things. It's probably something. Windows needs space to update. Fuck you, Windows. God damn it. Fucking Windows 98.
Anyway, we're only like 2 chapters into this book so far, so we should probably get plugging along with some of this stuff. I will say, I wrote a note. Chapter 2 was fucking amazing. Like this is the whole Ben chapter. God, go back and read it, listen to it, do whatever, but it is amazing. Flashback to Rey. We have some really interesting revelations from Rey where she's talking about first about how she fixed Luke's lightsaber,
Right.
then about how she was talking about or thinking about constructing her own lightsaber.
Mhm.
She had started the process and she was considering like a whole quarterstaff thing,
With the hinge.
Yes.
Yeah, because she brought that up specifically that it was like, oh, it's going to be a quarterstaff like I have with the hinge on it.
Right. So when we see that was me, I was kicking the thing.
All right.
So when we see Dark Rey later, she's like, "Oh fuck!" and she's using the lightsaber that I had initially envisioned in my mind with
Right.
the fucking the hinge and the click click, So that makes me actually want to go back and watch the movie and see if that fucking thing was made out of the parts of her fucking quarterstaff, the way she envisioned it.
We know that at the end of the movie when we see her ignite her lightsaber,
Yeah,
that she had been working on,
also-
that it was made out of parts of her quarterstaff.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
she validates that point.
Yeah.
But it also in the book right at the end it makes a point to also say that like she deliberately went 180 degrees out of what she was thinking about because she saw that in the dark vision.
Right, which is very interesting the way she did it like that. All right, everything's good here.
We're all fine here. How are you?
No, but
This will be a little sticky. It's fine.
it's fine. It's fine. Beer never hurt anything, right? Oh, but
Never.
you got on my notes and Dave just messed up everything. Yeah, no, that was really
I
interesting.
splooged all over him.
And it really makes me want to go back and watch that scene though, where Dark Rey, fucking unfurls the staff because I want to see if that's the parts of her fucking current quarterstaff. Anyway,
But this is a really good example of where they took the time in the novelization to say like, okay, this is something she was thinking about. That's why it showed up in her dark vision.
Yeah.
And ultimately doesn't show up in the end. Doesn't change the fact that like it's a weird fucking design. Like when I saw Dark Rey initially and the Dark Rey that's on the wall somewhere.
I think the staff is fully
it's
extended,
fully
right?
extended because when it's both are both are ignited and they're in the fucking stowed position, let's say, it just seems awkward. Like would that be effective for fighting to have just basically 2 blades? Like it would only be effective if you fucking undid it for stowage. I don't know. It just seems like a really super inefficient way to fucking have a lightsaber.
You're not wrong, but if you remember, Plo Koon had the same thing. She's up there, by the way, right underneath Classic Fett.
Oh, okay.
Plo Koon had the fucking claw sabers. So
Right.
from the Clone Wars, so he had like it was attached to like his fucking hand, and it was 2 sabers coming out. Again, why not just 1 saber? Why does it have to be 2? You know, it's
because it's cooler with 2. I guess.
exactly. There's a. I mean, to be honest, there is a bit of showmanship when it comes to lightsabers, be it the expression of the color, be it a single blade, double blade, you know, what have you. There is at least a small element of showmanship in everyone, dark side and light side.
Yeah, I'll buy into that. I'll buy into that. Because honestly, Kylo Ren's lightsaber is probably the most effective broad saber for wielding in some sort of battle, because it actually has protection for the hand.
Right.
You know, whereas all the other lightsabers are just fucking like, all right, if I come down the fucking blade, it goes right into your fucking hand.
Yeah.
Now, excuse me.
The most critical bit of information that we got from this novelization, more than anything else,
Okay.
came early on, like chapter 4 or 5,
All
when
right.
I think it was Hux having like an inner monologue, and he thought to himself, you know, he's been having trouble like with some of his replacing some of his people that he's lost, particularly after the death of Phasma. They specifically said the death of Phasma in this novel. So, once again,
Somehow
Jason validated with Phasma is dead for sure. They mentioned it multiple times in this novel. That she is
did not
dead.
didn't even notice that. And wow, as I was reading it,
you see this in big capital letters down here, the death of Phasma.
I mean, I feel like that you were a little, you might have been feeling like, Mom, maybe I was wrong, and that's why this is you needed this validations at some point. I didn't even notice. Wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Not even sure why you brought it up, honestly.
Well, I just validation that that $12 was well spent, and that I can now feel justified in the fact that I won the bet and everything else. That's all.
Okay.
All right. At one point, Rey refers to the Millennium Falcon as her ship, which I found was interesting. She mentioned later on in the book that it technically should have been Chewbacca's, but for some reason he fucking gave it to her. So the Millennium Falcon belongs to her, where it was really not 100% clear in Rise of Skywalker, like who fucking ran it. Like, if anything, it was more like Chewie, and he just let fucking people come and go as they pleased.
Well, I think they made it a point that Chewbacca was with Han Solo, whatever he was doing. It was Chewbacca until he wasn't. It's not like Han was like, "Hey, I'm going to do this thing. Chewie, take the Falcon and go."
Yeah.
Like it never was that. So it was always Han and Chewie. And Chewie's connection has always been with the other beings, not necessarily with the ship.
Yeah.
And so I didn't necessarily get that. Like, even from the movie, I didn't get that. Just making it stickier.
Yeah. Just trying.
Here, splooge some of that on there. There you
go. What is that going to do?
It's going to make it less sticky.
Okay.
Just rub it in.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes. Rub it in. You got to keep rubbing it. Otherwise, it's just going to be wet.
It's still wet anyway.
It's just, all right, well, keep rubbing it then.
I don't know what's going on. Oh, this is a disaster.
Anyway,
now, throughout the book, Ren also, like, refers to his hatred towards the Millennium Falcon.
He hates that fucking ship.
Times
he has
whatever reason.
And we're jumping around a little bit, but we're alluding to the fact that like Chewbacca, even when Lando goes into the ship, like we have a scene later when Lando goes
a real Lando part too, with the ship.
So when Lando's like kind of reconnecting with the ship, and you know he's kind of going into compartments and he's remembering things.
Yeah, they talk about the cape closet, and
right?
Everything else
that turned into Chewbacca's, where Chewbacca hung out, and he went in there and saw like the video of Chewbacca, and like there was a little
hollow of him and Ben.
Yeah, and it was like it really, to me, that drew the attention to the fact that Chewbacca's never been about like the Falcon or anything else. He's always had this super strong connection to Solo and to everything, like, and his kid and all this other stuff. So, which really leads me to believe, like, Chewie didn't have any fucking pictures of him and fucking Nala and anything else. No, it was him and fucking Solo's kid. So, I don't know. This whole fucking holiday special as canon thing really doesn't fucking jive. I feel like Chewie doesn't have some fucking Rena family in fucking Kashyyyk.
Or, maybe it was after a couple of years. He's like, God, I can't stand this fucking bitch. I gotta
Stand
get out of here.
You see her do you see her fucking cooking? Oh my god.
It's like, oh, she watches these terrible cooking videos.
That's
and
like-
I can't stay here. My son, he won't shut the fuck
Fuck
up.
up. He's watching porn with his grandfather. Like, this fucking disturbing.
I gotta get out of here. And then when the opportunity came for him to like attach himself to Han, he's like, "Oh yeah.
I got this fucking life debt.
yeah.
I gotta go. Sorry. Good luck.
Oh,
Hopefully they don't enslave you and blow the planet up. Hey, peace.
I think we just figured it out. I
Yep.
think that was it.
Totally.
Oh my god. Oh, it's fucking brilliant.
He's not gonna be able to read his notes.
I know.
Splooge all over him.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm really trying. I do have notes about, Hux's ultimate plan was to be the Supreme Leader. It wasn't to, subvert the whole First Order. It was just to kind of get Kylo Ren out of there.
Yeah, and they also mentioned with Hux that it was like he hated Kylo Ren's hair. Like, it was just one of those
Right.
things where it's like Hux is all about the order and like the discipline and everything else that was the First Order. He hated that Ren was out of regs. Like, his hair was out of regs, and like if there was a mess in the fucking hallway, like, that shit better get fucking cleaned up.
Mhm.
He was all about the precision and the neat and orderly nature of the fucking First Order, and which was the Empire just graduated. Because you get that in all the sequences that have the Empire or the First Order. The absolute cleanliness of the facilities.
Yeah, and they
You know?
mentioned it too. They mentioned
Yep.
the squeaky cleanness of the floors and
yeah.
everything else.
Really letting a lot of credence to the fact that, like, in the military, we would like to have things clean, when in reality, we just need to have shit for airmen to fucking do.
Right.
Like, really, idle hands are the devil's plaything, and we gotta all right, mop the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, we just mopped it. We'll mop it again.
Yeah.
And then strip it, and then fucking wax it. We don't know how to use a waxer. You're going to learn today.
Mhm.
You're going to learn today. Well, anyway, that was our fucking military experience. I don't know what the fucking kids now are doing. They're probably, like,
think
telling the
they're doing that too
maids
much.
where to fucking vacuum or some shit.
Ugh.
Like, I'm really going to talk like some old fucking retired guy, right?
Yeah, but you're not wrong either. So here's an interesting addition to the novel that we did not get in the movie at all. No hints of whatsoever. Was Ben going to Chewbacca after he had been captured?
Mm-hmm.
So we get this whole fucking sequence
Right.
where Ben he goes and he confronts Chewbacca after he's been
Uncle Chewie.
Yeah, and he fucking goes through the whole thing where he tries to extract the fucking memories from him and everything else, because what did he want? He wanted to know what Rey was doing, right?
Right.
Like, why
Where
the
is
fuck
she?
Yeah, why is she here? Where is she? Where's she going? And he goes into his fucking mind, and he sees visions of himself as a kid,
Mhm.
visions of him and Chewie together, and like the note that I had for this whole section was, this should have been in the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, this was a really good sequence.
Yeah, and it would have been something it's easy to do. You already had Chewbacca captured.
Mm-hmm.
Go have Ren go in there and let's really validate this inner light. Like, where is this conflict coming from, and why does he have to? He has to use the Knights of Ren. Like, we don't. Here's one thing that we didn't get a lot of.
Mhm.
We didn't get any kind of like, hey, here's what the Knights of Ren are all about. We got
Well-
more of basically nothing
Right.
about the Knights of Ren.
Because
Except,
I think ultimately they were nothing.
yeah, I spent a lot of money getting all but one. So I'm hoping that eventually the price on the last one will go down, so at least I can have the whole set.
Yeah.
It's fucking annoying. Anyway, I think Ren needed the Knights of Ren just to keep up this facade of like, I have to annihilate everything in my path. I have to get everything that I want.
Yeah.
And it's almost like if he had been alone with his memories of Chewbacca and his father, which he remembers his father, the haunting of it, his father's touch to his face.
Yep.
He mentions how that still, like, just that light. He always mentions it as the light. It's that the light keeps fucking interrupting what he's trying to go completely dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this scene that you're talking about with Chewbacca and getting that information out of him, I think would have done a lot for the audience to get to like, oh fuck, like show a little fucking into this is what you're thinking
Right.
right now, and see Chewbacca holding a fucking kid with like a big nose and all the hair, right?
Yeah.
Go to that and have him have a quick vision of that, and have him no, all right, fuck, that's one more thing that's going to validate when Ben turns. It's not just for the fucking POP.
Yeah.
It's for the fact that he really wanted to vindicate himself to his fucking father and his mother.
Right. And I think the only reason maybe they didn't put this in the movie was because it probably would have been too much of a tell for Ben's turn. I mean, I think even going into the movie, never seeing trailers or anything else, we probably always knew Ben was probably going to gravitate back towards the light before the end of this trilogy.
Yeah, I think
I
we
mean,
alluded to that several times
Yeah.
in our conjecture.
But I think if they had thrown this scene into the movie, that probably would have been too much of a foreshadow at that point. Like, hey, he's definitely going to turn light. That's the
Or it would have been like he was so violently against it after having those memories, then maybe you could use it as a fucking like, and we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think this would have been a really, really cool part of the movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. I wrote one note in here when they were on Kijimi and they were trying to leave, and Poe in the movie yells to C-3PO. I even mentioned this during our review. C-3PO, move your metal ass. First time we'd ever heard anybody say ass in a Star Wars movie.
Right.
They changed it to butt in the fucking, at least in the audiobook. I don't know what they did for the paper book, but in the audiobook, he's like, 3PO, move your metal butt. And I'm just like, really? Really? Like, because you're afraid kids are going to listen to the audiobook and not see the fucking movie? Like, I don't understand. Why change it now at this point?
Oh, it better not be changed when we buy the fucking copy of it.
Oh, you think that they would change it in the actual video of the movie, too?
They might. People that have seen it, did they change that shit?
Yeah, let us know.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, but they changed it. And, I mean, honestly, as a parent who took his kids to see the movie, I was not upset or anything about them using the word ass. Trust me, I've said far worse things in front of my kids.
Yeah.
So,
and if they listen to 5 minutes of this fucking podcast, they're getting way more than that.
mm-hmm.
But
it was unprecedented in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because this is, has always been sort of a family film type of experience,
But
even though there have been a lot of dark parts of the Star Wars movies.
right, I mean, it has had a PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
And that's, founded for a lot of it.
Yeah. But
I'm trying to find that fucking line.
Okay. But yeah, this was on Kijimi as they were leaving, if that helps.
Yeah.
But speaking of
This is
Kijimi,
after the wipe.
what?
Was it after the memory wipe?
Yes, right after that. Within pages probably. But speaking of that, like after they left fucking Kijimi, there were several sections of the book that were around Zori Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of her like, fuck, I got to get the crew together. We got to get the fuck off Kijimi.
Yeah, the
all kinds of
Luana,
shit.
the Luana broad that she was supposed to pick up, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh fuck. The fact that Zori had a Y-wing,
Mhm.
yeah, that was her fucking personal
Yep.
craft. Which, from being in the Alphabet Squadron book and like there's a little bit of more of a connection with some of the older spacecraft, like the Y-wings and A-wings, shit like that.
Sure.
I thought that was actually kind of cool.
Oh yeah. Well, because again, we mentioned that a lot of the ships that they brought out in this were probably stuff from the fucking boneyard or just like ragtag
Yeah,
ships
right.
that they had laying around. But yeah, we had a lot more Zori Bliss in this than we did in the
Mhm.
movie at all. What was I gonna say? Oh, Jana or whatever the fuck, Gaptooth
Right.
from fucking
Lando's daughter.
yeah, well, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Her bow was made out of old blaster parts. I didn't even notice that in the movie. That's another thing I got to go back to the movie and look for. But the bow that she fucking used was made out of old blaster parts, and they made a point to bring that up because Rey saw that and she's like, "Oh, I can respect that," because as a scavenger, she was used to fucking just using old fucking parts to do whatever the fuck.
Right. And that was another thing too. Like, I thought what I enjoyed in the book was Rey kept it actually said it out loud in the book that she was looking at everything. She couldn't help but see everything as like what she would get in portions.
Yes.
And that totally makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
this is how she grew up. So, like, looking at all these parts and, like, this environment and shit like that, I was like, oh, fuck, that would be worth this. That would be worth that.
Mhm.
Like, that level of worth and that going back to her background, I thought was a great addition to the fucking novelization.
Oh, yeah. Even talking about, like, bodies of water. You know,
Yep.
before she left Jakku, the only body of water she had found was that fucking trough that the fucking pig beasts drank out of. Whereas now she's like in a fucking skimmer trying to get across this like ravaging ocean, trying to get to the fucking Death Star wreckage.
Right above my fingers.
3PO, move your metal ass. Okay, so it still says ass in the novelization.
Says ass in a novelization.
But yeah, he specifically says butt in the audiobook.
That's funny.
So yeah, I'll be curious to see what the actual movie says. It's one of those weird little details, man, but
For sure.
I mean, it stuck out. It was worth noting when we first saw the fucking movie. It's like,
Yeah.
they actually said the word ass in a Star Wars movie, which,
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
Before, the worst thing it said before was like hell.
Yeah,
And I'll see you in hell.
yeah. Which, I mean, again, isn't...
No,
It's
not
not at all.
This day and age.
Yeah.
And yes, Bronco Fett Alphabet Squadron is in the novelization.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We get the whole fucking shout out at the end where
Right.
it's like fucking
All the ships.
Ghost standing by, fucking Alphabet Squadron ship standing by, these people.
Yeah,
standing
Alphabet
by.
2 is standing by, and then you had
Oh yeah, it was like a who's who of
Jaina's daughter,
Inferno Squad,
Inferno
Yeah.
Squadron, standing by.
Yeah.
There was a lot of throwbacks to novelizations and all these other things that we've read and people.
And that's the thing that I'm going to give Disney credit for. You know, a lot of people shit all over Disney canon, but they have done such a good job of like interweaving all of these fucking stories together between video games and fucking novels and everything else.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
It's easy for us to question, like, because we have all these Legends material things, and we have the Old Republic video game that they're still putting content out for.
Mhm.
You got to figure at some point, like, at what. I know for me, and this is a little bit of a sidebar, but I know for me with like the Star Wars stuff, I almost don't want to go. Like we've talked about it before about doing some Legends material type stuff, and I'm at a point now where like I don't want to go back because going back would basically reopen a fucking wound.
Right.
That's like, here's this information that could have been, but that's not where we are. So
Right.
that telling of that story in that manner while it was great for me at the time, doesn't necessarily mean that I would have the same level of enjoyment now, or that it may lessen my enjoyment of whatever comes out in the future.
No, and I agree. And you have to think about it in the context of the time too, because after the prequels, Lucas said, "That's it. No more Star Wars movies. I'm done. Not making any more.
Yep.
That's it." So the expanded universe was all we had. After the Disney buyout, everything fucking changed. So now Disney's like, "Oh no, we're making more movies than you can ever fucking imagine, in addition to making fucking comics and fucking novels and everything else. So no, we're doing this." So yes, a lot of good material was put out to pasture, so to speak. But I think overall, we're getting more content. We're getting better content. We're getting higher quality content that's well thought out and everything else. So, you know, you just have to kind of accept that. And like you said, just kind of let the past die, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's time to let old things die.
Exactly.
So anyway, moving on to the novelization. A couple other notes that I really wanted to bring up. Leia's sacrifice when she, you know, called to Ben and everything else. I think that was so well fleshed out in the novel.
Yeah, because she was already teetering on the end of her life. Like
Right.
Luke was calling to her, saying, "Hey, it's time."
Mm-hmm.
And Leia's like, no, not yet. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
I'm not ready yet. But you could tell, like, she's kind of falling over and shit like that. I just had this. So, sidebar, talking about dying things, right?
Mhm.
So my dog, our dog Jessie, like, she's 13,
Mhm.
and it's going to happen soon.
Mhm.
And you know, legs give out, you know, she's still eating, and we can get her, like, help her out and do stuff, but it's going to happen soon. And it's like one of those things where, like, her For her, it's just like, no, I'm good. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And this is what you get with Leia at this time. It's like when I was reading it, I was thinking about Jessie, like our dog too.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm still good. Don't worry. Just help me up. Come on. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna poop and I'm gonna make you think that everything is hunky dory. But then I'm gonna fucking not be able to make it up the stairs. But this is what we see from Leia. Coming back to this is what we see from Leia at this point. It's like she should have died probably a day before she did, but she wanted to get to a point where, like, no, I got to get to this point where I can save Ben and still help with everything that's going on.
Right. Yeah.
But she saw that was going to happen.
Mm. And yeah, I think that was so well done in this novel. It was really, really good. And then after she was gone, it mentioned that she joined Luke in the light and he was not alone.
Right.
Did you catch that part?
I did.
It's like, oh man. So
Right.
it's probably referring to like Obi-Wan and Yoda.
Yeah.
And...
So basically all of these people that she was already communing with, and then later, it's kind of a word and story that I can't think of, but foreshadowing for when we see when Mace Windu and everyone is talking to Rey, at when she ultimately confronts Palpatine to his death.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where you get like he's not alone.
Yep.
Type thing.
Another thing that we got in the novel that we did not get in the movie was the background of one of the first or the final order officers, that
Right.
female that was in charge of one of the Star Destroyers.
Right.
We start getting into a little bit of her background, like being raised on Exegol as part of the final order. And,
Yeah, that right there was one of those like, holy shit, this is a whole story in and of itself.
yeah,
Like
that's
she
exactly
knew
what I
she was
thinking.
competing against thousands as captains of like what she had to do to lie, cheat, steal, kill to get, in the Sith way
Mhm.
to get to the point where she's the fucking leader. And she was a stolen child.
Yeah.
Like that's what they did. It wasn't like these homegrown fucking Exegolians.
Right.
It was, you had the Sith sorcerers and shit like that, but ultimately it wasn't. The children that were stolen were like taken, and it was like, okay, the best out of this batch we're going to take to Exegol
Right.
and fucking start raising them for final order.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of them.
Yeah. So
And-
more stories again, like
Yeah.
the first order and the final order, like what that relationship was.
Right.
And oh man, just like so much, which we just got the little hint of
Right.
with this person. So we get a scene where Babu Frick is working on a battle droid.
Right.
It actually says Roger,
Roger.
Roger. This was another one of those chapters that was about fucking Zori as she's trying to like rally up the troops and everything.
Yeah, I like the idea of another battle droid, kind of like Snap Wexley's, Mr. Bones
Yeah.
type thing, or you have another battle droid acting in like, in a much fiercer capacity than they actually were. Because let's face it, the battle droids were awful cannon fodder.
Right.
They weren't very good at being cannon fodder.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly,
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they fucking were dumbed down. Their IQs were to the point of fucking like dirty bathwater. And it's just like, oh my God, like you exist for one thing and one thing only. And the fact that like you could take that structure of a battle droid and then, all right, it's going to function like it does in Battlefront 2, where suddenly they're undefeatable.
Right.
Like they're killing massive amounts of people and they're so fucking driven to actually kill. Not like they are in the fucking actual movie and shit.
Right. Another scene that I wish they would have put in the movie, and I don't know why they didn't, was when Ghost Luke was talking to Rey,
Right.
and he starts talking to her about their similarities. He's like, hey, we were both raised on fucking desert planets, both orphans, raised by parents that weren't ours. They're both eventually found the Force later in life than the Jedi normally would have. And I'm like, yes, why didn't you mention that? Like,
Yeah.
this is what people have been talking about since The Force Awakens,
What I didn't like was in the novelization, they split the timeline. They split it so that okay, apparently that was you.
Apparently I'm getting short on space on this thing.
No shit.
Yeah. Well, we've been going for almost 3 hours, so.
I think that I liked how the movie did the presentation of Red 5
Yeah.
better than they portrayed it in the book. Like the way it was in the movie, that was probably the strongest part of the movie for me. That was the like that was the fucking
That was one of those points where I almost came to tears.
Yeah, that for me, even like right now, like, getting the goosebumps and fucking just like that scene with Luke drawing it over. The sequence and how they made that happen was perfect.
Yeah.
The way it's kind of presented in the book, where it's like, oh, Rey went over and did this, and she's kind of thinking about that, blah 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 blah, and then it kind of comes back to it.
That's the John Williams effect too. Like, you don't get the John Williams as you're reading the book.
In my head, all the John Williams is happening.
Right.
Like, every fucking portion of this, every portion of it, I'm getting, I'm overlapping the fucking John Williams thing. That's another reason why I'm glad I didn't listen to the audiobook, because in the audiobook, they'll sneak in a little bit of the soundtrack, and they'll sneak in some fucking background noise.
And I can tell you for sure that it was not that theme that they had playing in the background during that scene.
Oh yeah, fuck that. I would not. That would have actually bothered me.
Yeah.
Like, in the book, I was like, okay, I'm not happy with how they did this in the book. I'd like how they did in the movie better. If they were playing any music at all that wasn't that fucking sequence, I would have been like, yeah, no, fuck you, no. Why do you have to take a shit in something so fucking perfect?
Well, then it's good that you didn't listen to that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We got when they're fucking attacking the Star Destroyers and everything over Exegol, and Finn's like calling to Rose. He's like, "Hey, go back. I'm gonna stay behind and like finish blowing up this fucking ship." And Rose is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm saving what I love." I'm like, ugh. God,
yeah.
They just had to include that, didn't they?
Very forgettable. The fathier looking fucking horses and shit like that. It's like,
saving what we love.
Space horses are just as regrettable in the fucking novelization as they were in the fucking movie.
Mm-hmm. And then we get the who's who of call-ins when Lando shows up.
Right.
It's like the fucking Ghost standing by with Hera, and fucking Alphabet Squadron, and fucking Inferno Squadron. The Tantive 4, was that destroyed in the fucking movie? Because they mentioned that in the audiobook. I had to go back and listen to it. Like, I knew that fucking Nien Nunb was killed during this whole fucking battle, but apparently the Tantive 4 was destroyed during this also.
Was it?
Yeah, they mentioned it a couple of times towards the end. Yeah, as Poe's kind of doing his inner monologue.
Yeah, it's in the beginning of chapter 18.
Yeah, so I didn't realize. I didn't know. Like, I know it got, like, when Palpatine did his fucking lightning and like force lightning all the fucking ships with that EMP pulse.
Yeah,
like it kind of like
the sleek Nubian yacht trembled in throes of wicked lightning.
I just assumed it recovered like all the rest of the ships, but apparently it was destroyed. So yeah, I didn't catch that.
The thing was barely flyable anyway. That was another thing. Like, in the very, very beginning, when you have Poe and Finn in the Falcon going to get finding out that they have a spy on the inside. Yeah. Ostensibly, they showed up thinking they were picking up a part for the Tantive 4.
Yes.
So the fact that they didn't get that part, and then came back, shows you like how fucking, like, could you imagine if that's a fucking airplane? You're like, yeah, this thing is like basically fucking one pencil mark away from being a Red X, and you're not flying this thing to the boneyard. Mm-hmm. This thing's going to be a static display here on this fucking planet.
Yeah, right where it is right now.
Yep, this is it.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can raise Red 5 out of the fucking ocean and fucking it powers right the fuck up. Yeah. Without a fucking without astromech droid.
Yeah. So
still the best scene of the fucking movie.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like, by far.
So I saw a bunch of clickbaity shit before the novelization came out about Rey's last words to Ben or vice versa or whatever. So what we got was the kiss, and then Ben fucking died, and then like right after he kind of disappeared, he said to Rey, like, through as like a force ghost, like, I will always be with you. And then Rey said back to him, like, no one's ever really gone. So that was their last communication in this, which was kind of cool.
I thought it fleshed out a little bit better in the novelization.
Yeah.
Like, even the lead into when Ben was coming back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought I don't have a problem with all that.
No, and in fact, again, it was expanded upon enough to where it's like, oh, okay, like this is so much better.
Right. Running out of space, Jason.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got a text message from Camille Donovan, who said that if I killed you, no one would know for a really long time since you're working from home. Like, what the fuck is that?
For
Come
at least a week until we're getting ready for the podcast.
Why? Where did that come from?
I don't know.
I didn't do
Maybe
anything
because I
wrong.
put the knife in her hand.
I guess. Anyway, so
That threw you off a little bit?
yeah. Oh, no! Precious limes. We got a really interesting piece of dialogue between Pin and Foe after
Precious limes.
after everybody's hugging and kissing back at their fucking base.
Yep.
Fucking Finn asks Poe, he's like, "You think Palpatine might come back again?" And Poe's like, "Maybe." So they're not even closing the book on Palpatine officially being fucking dead.
Palpatine's fucking dead.
Probably.
Palpatine's dead because they described it to his bones, like his flesh through to his bones and blah 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 blah. Palpatine's dead. I think something that we haven't talked about as we're getting here to the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't. They fleshed out a little bit the Finn's and his attenuation to the Force.
Oh
bit.
yeah.
And-
they really went into it.
And which is fine. It made it a little bit more obvious than the movie did to me anyway. To a lot of people it was pretty obvious, and that's all good. I don't have a problem with any of that. What I found interesting was that the stormtroopers, like Janna, Lando's daughter,
Yep.
it's pretty fucking obvious that it's his daughter.
Right.
And they didn't even put the awkwardness at the end of the fucking movie into the book
No.
between the two of them. So, but I think that Lando's daughter and that entire group that she's with, they made this allusion to the fact that they all fucking deserted at once. Like they all had that same feeling at once. It was like they all
Right.
had that feeling in the Force, like what's about to happen is wrong. We need to fucking get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And it was kind of it was mentioned in passing in the movie. It's like, yeah, all of us, we all had just a sense of it.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like they were using that same allegory for Finn and his connection to the Force with Janna as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like she might have been, like, her at least. I don't know about the rest of her crew, but
Well,
she might have been Force sensitive
yeah,
too.
and we don't know anything about the rest of those stormtroopers, right? Except that they were in the same boat. They're all orphans. They're all
Yeah.
picked off of somewhere. They weren't good enough to fucking become First Order,
Right.
and maybe that's because, or Final Order. But maybe that's because, like, maybe they had some light in them. Maybe there's they had some tendencies. They had to go through retraining a couple times.
Yeah, a lot of pushback.
Yeah, like they kind of their trigger fingers twitched just a little bit when they were fucking shooting at kids. All right, but I found it interesting that it spoke of what the Force was outside of how we know it to be, without some kid fucking bringing a broom to his hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
feel like that's what they were looking for. It's like
Yeah.
the fact that the Force can act upon people and somebody can be sensitive to it without having to go something as so visceral as moving something with their mind.
Right, more as a feeling of right and wrong.
Exactly.
Or, yeah.
Exactly. Like that ultimate feeling of like what we're doing is wrong and we have to not do that, that they have more of a propensity to be to the light. And ultimately they remove themselves from that and met up with, everything is as the Force wills, right? You get to this point in the movie and however you want to do it, like everything happens for a reason, but it's like, okay, the Force must have had, like, there was rumors of settlements on this fucking moon that was, by the way, well described in the novelization of the Death Star wreckage, like coming up to the Death Star wreckage, like what happened to the system, decades of fucking debris falling and fucking changing the actual tides because it was a water-bound planet.
Yeah, well, it was a moon. It was a water-bound moon. Yeah, and because of the Death Star wreckage fucking raining down, it completely shifted the whole fucking...
Yeah, they had a
everything
whole tidal shift and so you can only imagine what it would have looked like. Like we saw the violence of it, but that was like during an ebb tide. So, or let's go with it.
Yeah. And they even mentioned, like, on the Forest moon, when you get that vision of... when you get that shot of Wicket on fucking the Endor moon.
Yeah, Wicket speaking basic, like.
Well, it was translated. He wasn't speaking
Right.
in basic. He was speaking in Ewokese or whatever.
Right.
Which, by the way, that other Ewok that he was there with was his fucking son.
Yeah.
So another interesting little revelation. But even they talked about how debris from the fucking Death Star had been raining down on their moon as well. So
yeah, and Ewok and Wicket knowing that like the good people, like 3PO and Leia, are this is they're helping.
Yeah,
having some sort of sense of it. So it was interesting. I didn't need to see the fucking Ewok bullshit. Really didn't.
Well, you know what? You can take your Ewok hate and you can go eat a dick because the Ewoks are perfectly fine. They are part of Star Wars canon.
Look, this is what's happening right now in my house.
Aww.
You see, this is a picture of my puppy and over by my desk, and all she wants is for me to come home.
She's not really a puppy anymore, though. Like, you've had her for over a year, haven't you?
Yeah, she's a little older than a year.
So anyway, moving on.
So you can have feelings towards my puppy, but Ewoks can eat a dick.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered most of the stuff that I had in my notes. Colin Trevorrow gets a credit towards the end. Like, after the story's done, he's like, based off of the screenplay by J.J. Abrams and blah, blah, blah. Story credits to Colin Trevorrow. So, he's the guy who was fired initially from the third movie. So, he still gets some credits for this.
Yeah, I don't think they got any of that.
Yeah.
So the book was set in Minion, a 1990 Adobe original. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's all about the author. It doesn't have any fucking thing.
But, so, to close it out, like, if anybody is still interested after...
We need to talk about this.
Oh, because of a nice little poster.
Yeah, this is the exclusive content. That's not going to end well.
Hold that thought. There you go. Well, we lost our YouTube feed.
Well, no, I shut it off real
quick.
Because if it's going to short out.
Anyway, Dave has an exclusive poster as part of the paper copy of the novelization, which is the poster of Rey and
look at Zori Bliss in that. I'll let you hold that one.
Fighting on the wreckage.
Yeah.
Zori Bliss.
God damn it. I'm going to smell like Corona. Here, more paper towels.
Hopefully you don't get pulled over on the way home.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good picture. Oh, and you got Lando right there too.
Yeah, I didn't pull the poster out of the book just because I didn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Ruin the sacred Jedi text.
The sacred text. So, ultimately, like, if you haven't been completely spoiled from this and you're still interested in reading the novelization,
you should.
Yeah, you should.
We didn't cover everything. There's no way we did.
It was fantastic. Like, at the end of the day, I think this was so good. Such a good compliment to the movie. So many more details. Like, I can't recommend it anymore. Honestly, like, you should definitely go out there. Either if you're an audiobook person, the audiobook is fucking phenomenal. Do that. Or if you're more about reading paper books, then go get the fucking paper book. But either way.
And listen, you're in quarantine status.
Right.
Air quote right now. So if you are if you're looking for a book that may get you back into reading books, maybe you haven't had the printed page in your hand in a while.
Yeah.
This is a great start because it's short. It's an easy read. It's in a hardcover, so the print is still relatively large.
Yeah.
It was an easy read. It was a good read, and there was just enough new material as you were reading it. Like, you didn't get to a point where it's like, okay, I've got all this in the movie.
Yeah.
There might have been one or two. Getting Windows ready. Don't turn off your computer.
Oh God.
Oh man. It's a good thing I brought this one today.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I agree with you. I think however you decide to ingest this movie, hopefully don't spill Corona over it, or ingest this book either via the novelization or through the like Star Wars and Del Rey have set a standard for what they're going to have in their audiobooks. They're going to have good production value.
Yeah.
even Alphabet Squadron and Galaxy's Edge, like I think there's still. I haven't finished Galaxy's Edge yet because I kind of put that on pause because I haven't been driving.
Right.
Because like I said, I have a tough time doing that. I still have to finish that. But yeah, I highly recommend doing this. And you're going to get information in there no matter what. No matter what. Like you can go on to clickbait sites and you can get somebody that's reviewed this fucking 15, 16 times already. And that's fine. But you're not getting it in the way that you were meant to get it.
Right.
Like if you just want the bullet points of like everything that happened in here, then yeah, go to a fucking website and get it that way. But if you want to actually like take it as an author intended to write a story and have that story include things about the movie that you hadn't seen before, then listen to the book, read it, put it in your hot little hand and read it that way. And you'll get more of the Rise of Skywalker. Is it a huge thundering amount? I don't think so.
I mean,
me personally, I don't think so. I don't think there's like, is it must see TV? I don't know.
well,
I don't think.
guess-
I tend to not. I tend to not think so.
I guess it depends on your level of fandom. If you're listening to this podcast, there is probably something for you to glean from this book.
Oh,
Quite frankly.
no doubt.
100%. Yeah. So
But
I mean,
what I'm saying is like if you don't, like you don't have to read any of the other novelizations. Any of them.
No.
If you're going to read a novelization for a Star Wars movie, I would recommend reading this one.
Yep.
Because I've read all the other ones. And there's no like glaring outside the script, outside the lines fucking storyline that you're going to get.
Yeah.
You get that with this book. However, it's not something that like it's not change your life type shit. It is really intrinsically its value is in the fact that it's telling the story with a little bit before what you saw in the movie and a little bit after that makes you really appreciate seeing the movie, which I will segue into the fact that with the Blu-ray release coming in 5 days? 27th, right?
I thought it was the 31st.
Okay. So
9 days.
9 days.
Yeah.
So after we record the next pod, we'll get the Blu-ray and all that stuff. But you're getting... Why did they decide to update now? Like, it's updating. Apparently, when you spill Corona on a fucking Dell, it decides it's going to update Windows.
It's a weird side effect.
Yeah.
So
Very weird.
Yeah, and
I would say that with the movie coming out and getting the Blu-ray and everything else, this is like it's not change your life type shit. You're going to get a really good fucking
and you're gonna get more than you're gonna see in the movie. Like we talked about before. Like, who is Palpatine's son? Because if you just watch the movie, you're like, where the fuck did this guy come from? We had no idea about this. Well, you get a little bit more context into who that guy is and where he came from. I still think that it should have been a novel in itself, but whatever. But yeah, you get a lot more information like that. So if you're a casual fan and you don't give a shit, then sure, you don't need to read the book. But if you're people like us, there's a lot to glean from these books.
If you're people like us, you've probably in the process of or are going to read this book anyway.
Yeah.
But I will say for the casuals, like it's not must see TV. There's no huge revelations. There's some gap fillers that are awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it does a good job of doing that. Like I said, I think I mentioned one thing that I thought that was better in the movie, better portrayed in the movie, because almost everything else that was demonstrated was either straight directly out of the movie. Did you deliberately drop that?
No.
Oh. It was either straight out of the movie or like off of a script read almost.
Yeah.
And then it had like more information built into it, but it's done to a point where it doesn't feel like it's forced. It's a good read. It's a short read. And Dave, recommend it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
Jason recommends it also.
Yes, so you should do it. Make the sacrifice.
Do it.
All right.
Come on, do it.
I think that's a good place to close this out. So next week, we're going to talk about 2 episodes of the new season of Clone Wars.
Correct.
And then the week after that, we might start dipping into the extras from the Rise of Skywalker Blu-ray.
I think the I can tell you right now that the John Williams extra
Yeah.
is going to get spoken about.
Yes.
If not primarily for the episode, a bulk of it.
Right.
I think we could do an episode just solely on the extras in the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a worthwhile endeavor.
All right. Then we can do that. So that's us for the next 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the YouTube. Thank you to everybody who's listening to the audio.
Yeah, sorry I poured beer all over my computer and
Yeah, we
ruined
lost
the
the chat towards the end. Again, 5-star reviews on iTunes. Please, 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 please do that for us. We'd really appreciate it. Dave will suck your dick if you give us a 5-star review on iTunes. At a minimum, we'll read your review verbatim here on the show. Either way, please do that.
And a character of your choosing without the dick sucking.
Ooh, yeah, that is true. We could do that. We could offer the Dave doing it in a voice. So
Yes, absolutely.
But either way,
I was supposed to do more TP for your bunghole on this episode.
yeah.
Because it's still a thing, apparently.
Yeah, but yeah, that was good. I'm glad we did the novelization. It was well worth it. And you all right over there?
I'm just trying to unfuck this laptop.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. I mean, it's still semi-functional. So
Yeah, it seems
that's
that
good,
way.
right? You may have to like flip it over and like drain the rest.
Smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh no!
Wow, that's a callback.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of you people out there might not have been alive for that. So either way, oh god, now I almost just did it.
Yeah, see?
All right, it's time for us to go.
You know what it is? It's my progressive fucking lenses. It's like my depth perception is all fucked.
I would believe that.
It's weird.
You combine that with drinking like 4 or 5 Coronas and yeah.
My Corona.
All right, so we're out of here. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And until next time, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Yikes.
It's like lightsabers.
Okay, now what do I click?
3 hours and 4 minutes.
Woo! Oh my god, I gotta pee.
What is this? Episode 143. Hey, we're back in the chat. I'm the same age as you guys. Are you, Lunar Girl? Well, I was born in 76, so... Dave was born in 75, I want to say. Tom, you have nothing to do until the next podcast. Well, we can still try to do some sort of like a mutual live stream. Like, I'd love it if like a lot of us could hop into maybe Skype. Like you, me, maybe Dave if he can do it from home. We could see if the Escape Pod guys are available. See if Scott's available. Just do a massive, just like roundtable, chaotic live stream. You're born in 77. Ah, yes. And so Mark Thompson, I was talking about, he was born in, I believe, 75. He's 44. So, yeah, he's like right around our same age group as well. So
That's my age group.
Can you do like group streams in Facebook Live?
I think we can do Facebook Live over to Cantina.
Like all of us in the same like chat, video chat?
We can try.
Okay.
Well, so the video never caught up, but the chat did. Is that what we're getting?
Yeah. No, the chat's good.
I guess I'm supposed to play the video,
videos.
but we don't need to see ourselves. As long as the chat's working.
Yeah.
Man, that was some good Tom Hanks peeing just now.
Was
With
it?
your fucking neighbors walking by with their goddamn dog.
That's fine. It's part of the deal.
Oh. Apparently, my laptop needed to be cooled off with a Corona.
Okay, well, that's good though. At
So
least
far,
it still
so good.
functions.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you may have to like flip it over and just like
I ain't doing shit. It's gonna sit here just like this.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't start next time, then I'll have a plan B.
all right. 3 hours for this audio file. Holy shit.
Dude, now I have 0 things to do until the next pod.
Yeah, that was funny.
See that?
That's when I brought up.
Go out. You know what you do, Tom? Go out into the woods of Endor and bring some of your figures and do some fucking sequences. Like out there. Take pictures like with the trees and shit in the background. That'd be fucking sweet.
Yeah. I still say he does the Palpatine with the Omen harness.
Right. Omnin.
Yeah.
Amen. Oh.
I wrote it down as Omen, like Omen, but this was because I was listening to it.
Yeah.
That's
2
what-
M's.
Yeah.
Facebook Live, you can add more people. Yeah, I think what we need to do is get the headphones live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get that audio piece that we need to make the headphones live.
Mm-hmm.
And then just do a test. We'll run a test prior to the next pod if we can get the equipment.
Yeah.
And just because I think the headphone piece is critical at this point if we're going to do anything with a group.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if we're trying to peel the sound and split the sound off of a fucking headphone jack somewhere, we need that that headphone amplifier to make that work and make it right.
Yeah, this old school splitter that
Yeah.
I'm trying to use.
Yeah, and because I just don't think that you're going to have the necessary power over that particular device.
Yeah.
You got these nice headsets, and let's use them. You know?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Boise County is closed off, actually, so you can't go hiking, even?
No.
That sucks.
Like, especially in Idaho. Like, I figured
What,
you
they gonna
guys...
stop you?
Like, you guys are a lot more, like, kind of libertarian, kind of, like, government staying out of your business.
Well, it's probably regional, just like anywhere else. I mean, you figure you go outside of Philadelphia, like out of the Philadelphia, greater Philadelphia area, you're into you're big time fucking red flags.
Yeah.
You know, that's where, Trump wins Pennsylvania because of fucking all the farmers and shit like that. That's where all the
not because of all the hipsters in Philly.
No, imagine that. It doesn't fucking work out that way.
Yeah.
That's where Andor is.
Well, Endor is in Northern California.
Yeah,
is where
no, it's
Endor is.
actually- But it's the Pacific Northwest. I mean, I can appreciate that. Haven't been out spending all that time in the woods, up in the Tacoma area, but also in Seattle, like playing some golf amongst some giant fucking trees.
Yeah.
Dude, up in Alaska, like I played golf up there, and it was a whole thing. But like playing in that environment. Like, you grew up in California, right? So Northern California and all that other shit, like that doesn't seem like it's that far away, right?
Right.
It's like you can drive 6 hours and you be pretty much in Redwood Forest.
Sure.
For me, when we were flying from, like, we went somewhere in Asia to Japan, and Japan up to fucking Alaska, and then go out in the middle of the woods to play fucking golf amongst these giant fucking trees. It was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Hubby's playing Battlefront 2 and cursing out Leia. By the by, I can't do it.
Battlefront
I can't
2?
do it. I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried multiple times this week to spin it up and wanting to play it. I don't want to. I don't like the heroes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like playing in third person. I like being a first person. Like, if I'm gonna like be attacking or doing stuff like that, I want to be in first person.
Well, I mean, as long as you're not being a hero, you can play that way.
Right, but like all the shit where you get to be Jedi and do all that stuff, you're in the fucking third person. I don't like it. Like, I don't like it.
Well, and it's your third person with first person controls. You know, the controls for a first person shooter like a Call of Duty are different than the controls of like a Jedi Fallen Order type game. But
True.
what they're doing is they're putting you into third person like Jedi Fallen Order, but you have to play like first person shooter controls.
I
It's
think
really weird.
I think you should have the option to go into a first person view. Like, I get it. Like, people want to pull back, they want to see the skin that's on there, right? They see the skin for the mod or whatever it is that they're doing. I get all that. That's fine, but my immersiveness in the experience really relates to the fact that I'm not necessarily looking at the character. I'm looking at myself doing what the character does.
Right.
That's why I think, Force Unleashed was third person.
Yes.
So, and I didn't have as much of a problem with that.
Well, because
Even Fallen Order, I didn't have that much of a problem with it. But in Battlefront 2, for some reason, when I go into a hero mode, I don't like it.
Because the game is built and designed as a first-person shooter, but then it's got to be like, fuck, we got to figure out how to make this third-person character work in this environment that we've created. Whereas Jedi Fallen Order, Force Unleashed, it's like, this is a third-person game, and we're going to build this game around this perspective.
I feel like after all these years of building out games that they would have that shit figured out by now. You know?
Well, by that rationale, every fucking video game that would be made nowadays would be perfect, right? Because, they've had time to figure this shit out, right? The problem is they're coding every one of these games from scratch.
Yeah.
As opposed to using existing engines and existing, models and everything else, every time they have to rebuild these games from fucking scratch.
Well, they're also building to new video standards too. I mean, like
the
complexity of the whatever graphics they're putting out are going to obviously change the dynamic of the game.
Yeah,
and I get all that. And like you said, like have fun, Tom, with your dining out with the wife.
Mm-hmm. Are they allowed to go out? I heard you get shot as soon as you step outside of your house in Idaho.
Don't propagate that rumor. Going to do dinner with the wife, so they probably are having dinner. It's probably like, hey, dinner time, and you go like, 1 minute, I'm almost, I got 2 minutes left on the map.
Gotcha.
Speaking of maps, did you ever download the Warzone?
I never did. No.
Why not?
Never had a chance because it's all in here and I was stuck in there. I'll get there.
All right.
Are you still playing it?
I'll tell you what, I am not playing Warzone as much.
Yeah.
For the same reason I probably don't play. There's things I really like about it.
Mm.
But it's longer. Like it breaks the threshold of like the timing. So the idea is to stay alive as long as possible.
Sure.
So you're talking about a much longer gaming experience than if I go into a map in multiplayer and just go into a shoot 'em up map for fucking 12 minutes.
Right.
You know? The look that you made when you fucking dropped that thing, I'm like, what just happened? But yeah, I know Lunar Girl, she's on there. Why am my voice is echoing off of something? Echo. You hear that?
No.
You don't hear that metallic?
No.
You don't hear that at all. You don't hear that.
I hear the fan from my computer.
You don't hear... do you hear it?
I think Dave's losing it.
Like, seriously, I'm like hearing myself either... It's like... It's sound coming off of a tin can or something. You don't hear that?
No.
Fuck. Oh my God.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my God. I'm losing it.
Clearly.
Ugh. Lunar Girl, you know what? Am I really loud? It's... Hello? Yeah, there it is.
It's a cat?
It's not meowing. It's like it's a metallic sound. It's like, oh my God. You would think with this tinnitus that I would not be able to hear anything.
Right.
And it's exactly the opposite. I hear the tinnitus and everything else. Everything else. It's fucking crazy.
You're like Superman where he has to hear everything and has to figure out how to filter things out.
My father-in-law, My father-in-law was like, yeah, Lunar Girl can't hear it either. Fuck. Like he said something. I'm sitting at my desk and around into the kitchen, and they said something, and Joe's like, yeah, Dave hears everything. I was like, yep, I heard everything. It's whether I want to or not, I fucking hear everything. And that's part of the problem. All that sound just. Let's see how. Sidebarring, because I can distinctly hear my own voice ricocheting off of something. They sell these like anechoic or anecho, ANECHIC. Fuck. That material you put on the wall that absorbs sound.
Oh yeah. They have that all over the Podbelly Studios.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I don't think we need that here. It's
Not
been
really.
like we've been really super like lucky. Like aside from the train going by and shit like that and the fan.
Yeah.
But like we don't get a lot of exterior noise.
No, when you listen to the audio podcast, as long as we didn't have any specific issues that week, it sounds great.
Yeah, it's really weird. Because I see people like on the podcasting threads, they're like, "Oh, I bought the stuff to put it around." I'm like, that's cool because it gives you like a studio kind of look.
Sure.
But I think if you don't need it.
I mean, I think for bigger, wider open rooms, you probably do. But I think because this room is so narrow, we kind of get that automatically. Plus, we've got, the Sacred Jedi Pops on one side. Maybe that kind of helps block out some of the sound. But even before we put that in, like, we never had an issue with echoing or anything like that.
No, except for the current issue that apparently only I am having.
Right.
Controlling the volume of my voice. Salium? Yeah. We need to move that.
Oh, yeah. But I like it, though.
Yeah, but the Darksaber is so fucking impressive.
I know. We have too much shit is the problem. That is the issue.
I don't disagree, but... Yeah, the Darksaber, we got to figure out. We didn't turn on the fucking Starkiller Studios. Oh my god, it's a fucking mess. It's like somebody showed up early and fucked everything.
I know, right? The flow hath been messed with. Nobody said anything, by the way, about
Kylo Vader.
Yeah, Kylo Vader, Bronco Fett.
Oh my god! All right, are we downloaded yet?
Yeah, we are.
All right,
this is just extra content. Oh, these sabers are so cool.
I still want an Ultra Saber though, because I feel like this thing's gonna break.
Yeah. Thank God it was empty. I think it's time we cut Dave off. All right, well.
Cool look. See.
Yeah. That is pretty neat. All right, but I think we're gonna call it.
Yep.
I gotta piss
I
again.
think only Lunar Girl's the one
left in the chat.
Last girl standing.
Yeah. But we do appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Have you talked to Nick about coming back, by the way? Apparently he's got an Anthony Daniels story that we have to hear. So...
Yeah, we just need to build him into the schedule.
You work with him, handle it!
Do you want him to come on next week?
He can come on any week he wants.
You can't do that. We has to have some sort of fucking, like...
I feel like this is the same thing that I have to do with my fucking airmen. It's like, if you don't tell them what to do, exactly what to do, and when to do it, they won't fucking do it.
I don't appreciate the analogy, but I feel like if we have a show that's geared towards having somebody on, then we'll bring somebody in. Right. The fact of having somebody sitting there without any content, it's just bad podcasting.
No, but I mean, like, let's just say for next week, we're talking about 2 episodes of the Clone Wars. If Nick's available and he wants to come in and tell his Anthony Daniels story, we could be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're reviewing these 2 episodes of the Clone Wars. Make sure you're prepared for those. He comes in.
As long as his kid is over his fucking stomach virus and he doesn't bring it on us, then I'm fine with that.
That could be an issue.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
But yeah, either way.
Yeah,
get his ass in here.
I'm not averse to it. We just got to tell him that, hey, this is believe it or not, as much as you feel like we play it fast and loose, there is a battle rhythm to whatever it is that we're doing. And if we're going to have a guest, then we need to fucking know that there's going to be a guest. I know for me, as much as I play it fast and loose, there's a bit that I know I'm going to do. I'm going to insert it here,
Right.
and there's going to do. Like, I have all this stuff that I'm going to. I don't write it down. It just comes out naturally.
Well, speaking of which, this is a little peeling back of the curtain here. Was my Greta Thunberg bit a little bit too obvious? Because like I've been planning that for days. So,
but that's what you do. It's like, oh, I'm going to use this.
Yeah.
And this is when I'm going to use it.
Yeah. This is wrong. I should be in school.
You guys still on? Holy crap. Did you just finish dinner? Holy crap. That was the quickest dinner ever.
Yeah, we were actually just like finishing up here. So.
Yep.
But yeah, because I got to pee again.
I just took care of that, so I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I'm not.
I'm taking my book with me, by the way.
You take it with you.
I'm going to.
You should.
I'm leaving the laptop.
All right. Leaving the Corona-covered laptop.
My Corona. All right. Let's kill it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Peace
You guys are
out.
the best. If you're still in the chat, then you are the best of our followers.
Yes,
By
you
far.
are.
So,
Stay well.
yep. Yeah. Stay safe. Don't get the virus.